Chapter 163. Heh. It's not too late to be an outsider. Like I said, there are new debts and old grudges between us. Let's settle them together today. Looking at the terrified Zhao Pan, Lin Rui was delighted. He raised the martial emperor divine spear and thrust it at Zhao Pan. Even if I die, I won't let you have it easy. At this moment, Zhao Pan was driven mad by Lin Rui. When he saw the martial emperor divine spear in front of him, Zhao Pan quickly dodged to the side. With my blood, break the boundary and sacrifice. Zhao Pan chanted an incantation. After the incantation, one of Zhao Pan's hands suddenly ruptured. Blood slowly flowed out and dripped onto the Ashura sword formation. Rumble. Rumble. Suddenly, after Zhao Pan's incantation landed on the sword formation, the sword formation began to show signs of breaking. Seeing this, Lin Rui didn't have time to wait. Otherwise, he would be the one to die today. Even when you're about to die, you still have to make such a big commotion. Looks like you really deserve to die. After speaking, Lin Li once more aimed his spear at Zhao Pan. But this time, unlike last time, Lin Li's spear truly pierced through Zhao Pan's body. In addition, Lin Li could sense that Zhao Pan's life force was slowly fading away. Today is the day we settle our grudges. Not only that, I believe that not long after, the immortal sects of the immortal world will also come looking for you. When that time comes, I will let you all reunite. After saying that, Lin Rui thrust his spear again. This time, Lin Rui aimed directly at Zhao Pan's head. Suddenly, a white substance flowed out from Zhao Pan's head along with Lin Rui's martial emperor divine spear. The scene was particularly dazzling. Looking at the corpse on the ground, Lin Rui's heart suddenly brightened. Perhaps it was because of Zhao Pan's death and the aftermath of his defeat. Ashura sword formation, origin of 10,000 arts, collect. At this moment, after Lin Rui saw that everything in the Ashura sword formation had been settled, he directly chanted an incantation. Then, the 3 myriad law swords instantly returned to Lin Rui's hand. Phew, finally, everything is over. I thought that there would be a lot of trouble this time. Although things didn't go so smoothly, at least I didn't lose my life here. Turning around, Lin Rui looked at the dispirited Hong Lian sitting on the ground and sighed inwardly before walking over. Sigh. Red Lotus, there's nothing more to say today. As for the primordial fruit, I really can't give it to you. I won't kill you. Don't be so nice to me. Even if you don't kill me now, I definitely won't do this to you. If you take away the primordial fruit today, I think I'll snatch it back in the future. At that time, can't I guarantee that I won't take your life? At this moment, Hong Lian, who was sitting on the ground, spoke to Lin Li with a cold look in her eyes after hearing Lin Li's words. Sigh. So be it. Dark group. Looking at Hong Lian's appearance, Lin Rui sighed and shouted towards the sky. Immediately, a group of people appeared in front of Lin Rui and knelt on the ground respectfully. We, the 20 members of the dark group, pay our respects to the sect master. May I know when the sect master would like us to do something? The sudden appearance of this group of people shocked Red Lotus, who was sitting on the ground. This was because he could sense that the 20 or so people in front of him were all transcending tribulation cultivators. What shocked Red Lotus even more was that these people were all kneeling on the ground to greet Lin Li as their sect master. Sect master, which sect are you from? I remember that all the sects in the Tianxian continent have submitted to the might of our Red Lotus Empire. At this moment, the more she thought about it, the more frightened she became. If a sect that hadn't been discovered yet had 20 or so tribulation passing stage cultivators, how powerful would this sect be? I'll send 5 of you. The rest of you, leave on your own. Looking at the dark group in front of him, Lin Rui didn't waste any time and directly ordered them. Yes, we'll follow the sect master's orders. After hearing the order, the 20 members of the dark group discussed and sent 5 of their people to stay on the spot. The rest of them followed Lin Rui's orders and left directly. The few of you, take this woman and leave this place quickly. Then, put her in the imperial palace of the Red Lotus Empire and leave as soon as possible. I don't feel at ease with her. At the same time, I don't want anything to happen to any of you. You're all pillars of the sect." When they heard Lin Rei's words, the 5 of them felt warmth in their hearts and said gratefully to Lin Rei, "Yes, we'll follow the sect master's orders. We'll definitely send this lady safely to the imperial palace of the Red Lotus Empire. By the way, if you go back this time, don't come back. After you go back, tell those little brats of mine to cultivate well and not to be lazy. If I find out that they're slacking off, I won't let them go. Also, pass down my orders that the entire sect will go into seclusion and not be active outside. Especially tell Hei Long that in the days when I'm not around, if anyone who doesn't know dares to trespass the sect's encampment, he'll kill them without mercy, no matter who they are." Of course. Lin Rei didn't say this sentence out loud. Instead, he directly transmitted it to the 5 members of the dark group. "Yes, we'll follow the sect master's orders. You may leave." After explaining everything clearly, Lin Rei let them leave. However, before they left, Red Lotus didn't give up and asked, "Tell me, what's the name of your sect? Why didn't I know that there was such a powerful sect in the Tianxian continent?" Looking at Red Lotus' puzzled expression, Lin Rei smiled coldly and said, I just want to say that if my sect wants to rule the entire Tianxian continent, it'll be done in a matter of minutes. So, don't start any more wars. It's better to let your people cultivate well. Remember, there's always someone better than you." After speaking, the 5 members of the dark group left with Red Lotus. Lin Rei remained where he was. He didn't put away the martial emperor divine spear in his hand. Instead, he gripped it even tighter. "Your Excellency, you've heard what you should and shouldn't have heard. When are you going to show yourself?" At this time, Jin Jia looked in the direction of the Sea of Innocence and suddenly said in a trembling voice, as if he was very afraid. It turned out that after Lin Rei came out of the Shura sword formation, he thought that the matter was over. He didn't expect that there was an even bigger boss waiting for him. "Oh. Human, you're not bad. You're able to detect my aura. That's amazing." As soon as Lin Li finished speaking, a figure emerged from the Sea of Innocence, treading on the surface of the water. This was a middle-aged man. His face was dignified, and he was dressed in luxurious robes. In his hands was a trident which very few people used, and on his head was a jeweled crown. Although he wasn't very good-looking, the aura emanating from this middle-aged man was not to be underestimated. You're the real guardian of the primordial fruit, aren't you? That flood dragon was just an illusion you released. Am I right?" Looking at the middle-aged man, Lin Rei was once again reminded of the flood dragon that was knocked out by Zhao Pan's slap. Lin Rei's expression changed drastically. His eyes were filled with vigilance and his body involuntarily made a defensive move. Young man, you're really good. I'm the real companion of the primordial fruit and also its owner. That flood dragon was just a temporary guard for me. However, I've only left for a while and you've already obtained the thing I've been guarding. What do you think I should do to you? Kill you directly or trap you and torture you slowly? I believe you won't give it back so easily, so I plan to capture you and torture you slowly. For so many years, I've always caught some creatures from the bottom of the sea to play with. Today, I'll change it." Hearing the middle-aged man's words, Lin Rei couldn't help but tremble. He looked at him with fear in his eyes and couldn't help but ask curiously. "Since that's the case, I presume Senior's cultivation must have reached divine transcendence. May I know Senior's current cultivation?" It seems like you still want to fight with me. Very well, I'll let you know my cultivation and then slowly play with you." Hearing Lin Li's words, the middle-aged man smiled slightly, then explained his cultivation level. "My cultivation level is the same as that of the woman you sent away earlier. I'm at the peak of the earthly immortal stage, but I've lived for even longer than her. In addition, the primal fruit in your hands was prepared for me to become a celestial immortal. Hiss. Hearing the middle-aged man's words, Zhou Bao's heart was filled with doubt. At the same time, he began to think of a way to escape from this place, to escape from this dangerous place. Don't think about it. This place has been sealed by my magic art. Unless you have the same cultivation as me, don't think about anything else. Just stay here quietly and wait for me to trample on you. After the middle-aged man guessed Lin Rei's thoughts, he smiled and walked toward Lin Rei. Even if I die, I'll give it my all. Otherwise, I won't be satisfied even if I die. Holding the martial emperor divine spear in his hand, cold sweat flowed down his forehead. He was terrified, but his eyes were full of fighting spirit. The blood in his body was boiling for this battle. All right, I'll give you a chance to attack. Seeing Lin Rei's expression, the middle-aged man directly stretched out his hand and used it as a weapon to block Lin Rei's attack. System, don't play dead. Hurry up and see if there's any way to escape. Maybe there's something in the store that can help me escape. As long as I can buy it now, don't talk nonsense and just buy it. Lin Rei asked the system for help in his heart. On the surface, he held the martial emperor divine spear and rushed toward the middle-aged man. Chapter 164. Spear Execution, Azura Thrust. The martial emperor godly spear in Lin Li's hand was surging with powerful energy. It was transmitted from Lin Li's hand to the martial emperor godly spear. In an instant, the martial emperor godly spear appeared in front of the martial emperor godly companion and stabbed him. Haha. Are you looking down on me too much? Or are you overestimating yourself? Do you think you can hurt me with just this little bit of power? Without any spiritual energy, the companion's hand grabbed the tip of Lin Li's martial emperor godly spear and stopped it in midair. The spiritual energy on the tip of the spear was also destroyed by the companion's hand. What? Seeing this, Lin Li was shocked. Even if his fleshly body was at the peak of the prized artifact tier, there was no way he could do something like this. The only possibility was an immortal tier fleshly body. Hiss. Thinking of this, Lin Li took a deep breath, his face full of disbelief as he stared at his companion. You already have an immortal artifact body? Ha. Ha, you're right. I do have the level you mentioned, but do you think I need to use it to deal with you? Ha. The companion let out a loud roar and directly grabbed Lin Li's martial emperor godly spear and tossed it into the distance. Boom. 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 When Lin Rei reappeared, he was already 100 meters away. The place where Lin Rei was standing had been dug into a large pit. Cough. 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 Your body is not bad either. A cultivator who can cultivate their body to this level is also at the level of a monster. However, it is very easy for a monster to die prematurely. Seeing Lin Rei walk out of the pit unscathed, the companion's eyes widened in surprise. He nodded at Lin Rei and praised. Cough. No matter how strong I am still not as strong as you are now. At this moment, Lin Rei's eyes were no longer like before. They were filled with disdain for Lin Rei. His expression was solemn, and his eyes were filled with battle intent as he looked at his companions. So what if you're strong? Didn't you just live a few 100,000 years earlier than me? The results are not out yet, so it's not certain who will win in the end. Boom. Lin Rei unleashed all of his cultivation base, including his prized artifact fleshly body and the immortal tier magic robes and battle armor that he had put away earlier. In an instant, Lin Rei's aura reached its peak, nearly bursting off the charts. I really didn't expect a cultivator who hasn't even reached the Mahayana stage to be able to use a piece of immortal-grade equipment right off the bat. Looks like I've underestimated you. When the companion saw Lin Li's aura rise and the light around his body grow brighter, he was even more shocked. However, behind the shock was greed. He was greedy for the immortal artifact in Lin Li's hands. Looks like I'll have to take this seriously. Having said that, the companion took out his weapon. A trident appeared in front of Lin Rei's eyes. In the past hundreds of thousands of years, you are the first person to make me draw my weapon. Of course, this does not represent how powerful your cultivation base is. Rather, it is because of the immortal artifacts on your body. Only my trident is worthy of them. Whoosh. After the companion finished speaking, he disappeared in the next moment. When he reappeared, he was leaning on Lin Rei's back. Humph, how can a little cultivator have such good equipment? You might as well give it to me so that I can break the seal of this planet. Oh, that depends on whether you can do it or not. Sensing the threat from behind, Linley turned around and used the martial emperor godly spear to block the trident that was chopping towards him. Dong! The sound of weapons clashing reverberated with the two as the center. The sound was deafening, carrying bursts of pressure and destructive aura. Ha ha ha, not bad. You're not bad at all. It's been a long time since I met such an opponent. You have an opponent for me. Oh. Is that so? But I don't think you're a match for me. I just think that you're just a stepping stone on my path to growth. Having said that, the two of them began their real battle. Lin Rei didn't often encounter this kind of battle. Apart from the time when he wasn't as strong as Xiao Pan, this was the second time Lin Rei felt the thrill of battle. Ding dong. Host, I do have the thing you mentioned, but it's very expensive. Are you sure you want to buy it? Just as Lin Rei and his companion were in a heated battle, the system's voice suddenly sounded. However, it was indeed the voice that Lin Rei wanted to hear the most right now. Although he was very excited about this battle, he was still very self-aware. If he continued to fight like this, he would definitely die. After all, not only was there a gap in cultivation, even the physical body that he was most proud of was an insurmountable gap. Tell me, what is it? How many exchange points and reputation points do I need? As long as I have it, exchange it for me. At this moment, Lin Rei was fighting with his companion in reality while talking to the system. If his companion knew about this, he would definitely think that Lin Rei was insulting him. It's nothing. It's just a teleportation array. But the difference is that it can travel infinitely, but it will consume your high-grade spirit stones to break through. This isn't a small amount, and the price to exchange for it is very high. If you add all your exchange points and reputation points, you can barely exchange for it. Huh, alright. Since I can exchange for it, I'll hurry up and exchange it. I'm afraid that I won't be able to hold on for long before it's too late. After hearing the system's result, Lin Rei was overjoyed. The last bit of worry in his heart was gone. No, I still need one more thing. Lin Rei was originally happy when he heard the system's link, but when he heard the latter part of the system's words, his originally smiling face collapsed. What is it? Didn't you just say that all my belongings can be bought? Why is it like this now? It's not difficult. You just have to agree to the system. No, you can't say that you agree. Just treat it as a mission issued by the system. When you return to your original world, it won't be like the previous one. There's a time limit. You can only stay in that world for 10 years. If it's longer, the system will give you a punishment. I believe that the system doesn't need to say it. Host, you should know what it is. F***CK, you're robbing a burning house, do you know that? Hearing the system's condition, Lin Rei was completely speechless. He thought that the system would say something, but he didn't expect it to be for this. Yes, this is it. You have to agree to it whether you want to or not. However, the system is sticking to you. You can choose. F***CK. You're causing trouble. I agree. I'll only stay in the 21st century for 10 years. Hurry up and give me the thing. If I die, don't mention 10 years, you'll have to die with me. At this moment, Lin Rei no longer hesitated and directly roared angrily at the system in his heart. Alright, the teleportation array is now in your storage ring. As long as you want to use it, just take it out and take out the corresponding spirit stones. However, a reminder to the host, the teleportation is not directional. As for the specific location of the teleportation, the system does not know. After speaking, the system disappeared as usual. Lin Rei was speechless. He had already cursed the system to death. Ha ha ha, come on. The crazy battle is coming to an end. Life or death depends on this move. After confirming that his life was not in danger, the crazy will in Lin Rei's bones awakened. In an instant, he fought even more crazily than before and attacked the companion. Humph, stop struggling. No matter how hard you try, you can't escape the gap between us. At this time, the companion saw Lin Rei's madness and thought that Lin Rei was making a final struggle. His face showed disdain and ridicule as he spoke to Lin Rei. Level 3 Incinerate Heaven's Extremity, Illusory Spirit Blood Fire, Fall Kill. In an instant, Lin Rei made a final struggle. This time, Lin Rei used the most powerful martial technique he had learned in the past few years. In addition to the illusory spirit blood fire that he had always been proud of, the martial Emperor Divine Spear drove the martial technique directly to the companion. This time, the companion was still as confident in his cultivation and strength as before. However, in the next moment, everything changed. Lin Rei's long spear, along with the illusory spirit blood fire, pierced the companion's body without any hindrance. Pfft! The companion spat out a mouthful of blood, his eyes full of disbelief. You, how did you do it? You can't break my defense. How did you? Pfft! As he spoke, he spat out another mouthful of blood. His face instantly turned pale and his body trembled involuntarily. It was unknown whether it was because of excitement or because Lin Rei's martial Emperor Divine Spear was still stuck in his body. Humph, I've already said that it's not certain who will live and who will die in the end. But now it seems that I won't die. Although I know that this spear can't kill you, the pill fire of a heaven-level alchemist won't be so easy to bear. What? Hearing Lin Rei's words, the companion was even more surprised and looked at Lin Rei with a frightened expression on his face. Ah, explode. Boom. Just after Lin Rei's shout, a blood-red flame spread out from the companion's body. Goodbye, you can slowly enjoy yourself here. I won't play with you here. At this moment, Lin Rei was also an arrow at the end of its flight. Previously, he had forcibly withstood Honglian's sword chi, and now the sword chi was still raging in his body. Then, he was attacked by his companion. Now, his injuries were piled on top of his injuries, and his body was riddled with holes. It would probably take a long time for him to recover. After speaking, Lin Rei took out the teleportation formation from his storage ring. Looking back at his companion who was being tortured by the illusory spirit blood fire, Lin Rei pursed his lips and smiled. Then, he took out tens of thousands of upper-grade spirit stones and threw them all into the teleportation formation. Swish! The teleportation array flashed with profound light as it was activated. Linley didn't even look back as he stepped into it. But right at this moment, the companion seemed to have gone mad, wildly attacking Linley, who only had half a body left. Chapter 165. Ah, you little bastard, even if I die, I won't let you have it easy. I want you to live a life where you don't know who you are for the rest of your life. I want you to live aimlessly, painfully, and unbearably. When Linley heard his companion's words, he stuck his head out of the teleportation array and looked at his companion in confusion, not understanding the meaning behind his words. In the name of my true form, I offer a sacrifice. Seal, 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 seal. His eyes turned crimson, his face twisted, and he carried an aura of remorse. After chanting an incantation, the companion's body began to shrink and shrivel up. In the end, the companion's body completely disappeared. However, just as the companion disappeared, a halo of light appeared from where he had disappeared and shot towards Linley. The halo was so fast that Lin Rei sensed that something was wrong the moment he saw it. His first reaction was to turn around and rush back into the teleportation portal. But Lin Rei underestimated the halo's speed and power. At the last moment before Lin Rei entered the teleportation portal, the halo shot directly into his mind. Instantly, as soon as the light entered Linley's mind, Linley lost all feeling in his body. The teleportation array had already been activated, and Linley's body disappeared from the teleportation array. At the edge of the Sea of Innocence, everything returned to peace, returning to normal, as if it had never been this peaceful before. Swish! Swish! A dozen figures suddenly appeared at the edge of the Sea of Innocence. The person in the lead walked out and said to the others with a look of horror. Everyone, sect leader has gone missing. This is the biggest disaster for the Xuanzong sect. We must inform every division of the sect immediately and have them send people to search the entire Tianxian continent. As for the rest of you, follow me and search the sea. This group of people was the dark operation that Lin Rei had asked them to hide. When they saw Lin Rei disappear, they were all dumbfounded. Yes, we will report this to the Dark Dragon Enforcer and the other divisions and have them send people out. Hearing the leader's arrangement, the 3 dark group members walked out and said something to the leader. Then, they quickly flew towards the Xian sect in the west. The few of them disappeared into the horizon like flowing light. The rest of you, follow me and search for the sect leader overseas. According to the item the sect leader used, it seems to be some kind of teleportation portal. There's no guarantee that the sect leader will be stranded overseas. At this moment, the leader told the rest of the plan according to his analysis and asked for their agreement. Yes, we'll listen to our leader. However, the Sea of Innocence is a forbidden area in the Tianxian continent. Even a Mahayana realm cultivator might not be able to travel on the sea. With our insignificant cultivation base, I'm afraid, at this moment, one of the Dark Dragon Enforcers stepped out and said worriedly. Don't say such things in the future. Sect Master gave us a chance to be reborn. If it wasn't for Sect Master taking us in, do you think that we would have been chased and beaten by others when we were begging outside? Even if we could use our lives to exchange for Sect Master's return, it would still be a good thing. At this moment, when the Dark Dragon Enforcers heard the leader's words, their eyes flashed with sadness. But when they remembered that it was Lin Rei who saved them, the sadness in their eyes disappeared and was replaced by the determination to find Lin Rei. Even if they had to die, they would be willing to do so. All right, we are willing to follow the leader overseas to search for the sect leader. If we can't find the sect leader, we will not return. Good, you're ambitious. Since the cultivators have agreed, let's set out. Having said that, the leader took to the air and flew towards the depths of the Sea of Innocence. Everyone who saw this scene looked at each other in unison, then followed behind. From then on, there was an indestructible team on the sea. People called them the gods of innocence, but wherever they passed, there would be rivers of blood. Of course, those who died were the ferocious beasts of the Sea of Innocence. The person who was sent by the leader to report back to the sect only returned to the sect a month later without stopping. At this moment, after the 3 Dark Dragon Enforcers returned to the sect, they immediately went to the Cloud Pagoda to pay a visit to the Dark Dragon. The 3 of them arrived at the Cloud Pagoda and spoke to the Cloud Pagoda's artifact spirit. Artifact spirit, I'll have to trouble you to call the Dark Dragon Enforcers. Tell them that the Dark Dragon Enforcers have an urgent matter and request an audience. Yes, please wait for a moment. I will summon the Dark Dragon for you. After hearing the 3 from the Dark Tribe, he agreed and drove to the place where Hei Long was cultivating. He said to Hei Long, who was in the middle of cultivating. Dark Dragon, wake up. The Dark Dragon Enforcers outside request an audience. They say they have an urgent matter to report. What is it? Didn't I say it already? Don't bother me when I'm in seclusion. At this moment, the Dark Dragon Enforcers frowned and spoke with a displeased expression. Swish. After Hei Long finished complaining, he disappeared from the spot. When he reappeared, he was already behind the 3 members of the Dark Group. So the three of you have an urgent matter to report to me? In front of the cloud pagoda, he saw that the three dark dragon enforcers were in the transcending tribulation stage. He knew that there must be an urgent matter. Otherwise, he wouldn't be waiting here as a transcending tribulation stage cultivator. Ah. Yes. Yes, the three of us are the people the sect master took with him when he went out. This time, we came back to report the matter of the sect master's disappearance to the enforcers. The matter is urgent and we didn't intend to disturb the enforcers. Please forgive us. Although the three of them were transcending tribulation stage cultivators, they were used to seeing the dark dragon enforcers due to their lack of cultivation. What? The sect master is missing? You're saying Lin Ray is missing? The dark dragon enforcers stared blankly for a moment before speaking in astonishment. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Yes. Yes, it's like this. Back then, the sect master took us to the Sea of Innocence. When we, later, after Red Lotus left, a man suddenly walked out of the Sea of Innocence and fought with the sect master. The sect master, who was initially no match for the sect master, managed to severely injure the man with his spear. The sect master then took out an unknown item that looked like a teleportation array. However, the man risked his life to launch a final attack that hit the sect master. After that, the sect master disappeared. After waiting for a long time, one of the dark dragon enforcers explained the cause and effect of the matter to the dark dragon enforcers. Oh, is that so? The dark dragon enforcer's report startled him at first, but he soon regained his composure. In his mind, Lin Ray was not someone who didn't have a backup plan. But when he heard that the final attack might have seriously injured Lin Ray, the dark dragon enforcers became anxious. Go and pass on my order. Ask all the cultivators above the body integration stage to move out and find the sect master even if they have to turn the entire Tianxian continent upside down. As for the cultivators below the body integration stage, let them train in the cloud tower in the sect so that they can improve themselves as soon as possible. As for Jian Wei and Bai Qi, let them continue searching for orphans on the Tianxian continent and bring them back to the sect so that we can strengthen ourselves. Also, tell Ming and Tianyun to lead their men to search for the sect master's whereabouts. No matter what method they use, even if they have to flatten the entire profound sky continent, they must find Lin Ray. Do you understand? Also, tell your dark dragon enforcers. Although I don't have the right to order them, as long as they are from the same division, I believe they will listen to you. Tell them to guard the Sea of Innocence at all costs and wait for the sect master's appearance. After hearing Black Dragon's orders, the three men who were standing in place immediately went to inform the various divisions. In an instant, the entire Nine Heavens Xuanzong sect heard about this matter. The sect was shaken and the various divisions were unable to rest. Within a day, the bustling sect instantly quieted down. According to Black Dragon's orders, all the cultivators above the combination realm went out to search for Lin Ray. As for the cultivators below the combination realm, they all entered the cloud pagoda and began a long period of closed-door cultivation. Of course, it was impossible for Bing to not know about Lin Ray's disappearance. After that, with Bing's cultivation at the peak of the tribulation stage, no one could stop him except for Black Dragon. However, Black Dragon didn't do so because he knew that among these people, Bing was the one who was most qualified to go out and search for Lin Ray. After making all the arrangements, Black Dragon left the Xuanzong sect's encampment that he hadn't left for a long time and began his journey to search for Lin Ray on the Tianxian continent. On the Tianxian continent, everyone discovered that more than 1,000 cultivators above the combination realm had suddenly appeared on the Tianxian continent. No one could find out their origins. They seemed to have appeared out of thin air without any information. However, their strength was so powerful that it was terrifying. Even Red Lotus began to suspect that these people could be Lin Ray, the mysterious person she felt. She was the first to arrive here. Cold sweat broke out on Red Lotus' back. After the Xuanzong sect's people moved out, the 5 disciples sent by Lin Ray also learned that their master Lin Ray was seriously injured and had gone missing. They also began a frantic search. No matter who it was, anyone who saw them would be captured and interrogated. The mysterious heavenly continent, which had been unified and stable by the empire of public transport, fell into chaos again because of the sudden appearance of more than 1,000 unknown cultivators. Red Lotus was furious when she saw this scene, but there was nothing she could do because she didn't know how many people like them were behind them. She didn't dare to act rashly because of Lin Rei. Chapter 166. The people of the Xuanzong sect were searching for Lin Rei in every corner of the mysterious sky continent. At this moment, Lin Rei was lying on the bed with his eyes closed and his face pale. Naturally, he wasn't wearing the clothes he wore when he entered the teleportation formation. At this moment, he was wearing clothes that looked like ancient linen. The door was pushed open with a creak. A girl who wasn't particularly good-looking, but could be considered strong and handsome, walked in. She was about the same age and looked to be about 17 or 18 years old. The girl leisurely walked to Lin Rei's side. She placed the cup in her hand on a nearby tree stump, then sat down beside Lin Rei. Looking at the pale Lin Rei, the girl revealed a sad expression and sighed. Sigh. When will you wake up? You've been in a coma for almost 3 months. Ever since you suddenly appeared in our village covered in blood, we thought you were a bad guy. After that, no one cared where you lay for a few days. When the village chief finally agreed to save you, he pulled you back. It's been 3 months and you haven't shown any reaction at all. I really don't know if you can wake up or not. It turned out that Lin Rei had lost consciousness after being hit by the halo emitted by his companions. He was directly teleported to an isolated island in the depths of the Sea of Innocence by the teleportation formation. At some point in time, people had been stationed here on this isolated island. Later on, they had formed a village and had lived there ever since. But suddenly, one day, a blood-soaked Linli had suddenly descended from the skies. When the villagers saw this, they all thought that he was a bad person, and so they didn't lend a helping hand. But after a few days, the oldest elder of the village finally couldn't help but rescue Linli and bring him back. After carrying Lin Rei to his room, the old man ordered his only granddaughter to bathe and treat Lin Rei. She took care of him for 3 months. During these 3 months, the girl came back every day to bathe Lin Rei and feed him medicine. As the saying goes, even a dog would develop feelings after 3 months of raising it, let alone a person. During these 3 months, the girl took care of Lin Rei meticulously. In the end, she fell in love with Lin Rei, who she had been taking care of all this time. 17 years old was the time for a girl to choose a partner. Moreover, the girl had to bathe Lin Rei every day. Tonight, when she was feeding Lin Rei medicine and bathing him again, the girl came to Lin Rei's room as promised. When she saw that Lin Rei was still unconscious, the girl couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Then, she began to bathe Lin Rei. Sigh. Little brother, do you know? This is the first time I've had a man other than my grandfather. I don't know when, but I started to care about you. Slowly, I started to care about when you could wake up and talk to me. As the girl spoke, she carried Lin Rei to the bathing area. Then, she began to slowly take off Lin Rei's clothes and put Lin Rei in the bathwater. In these 3 months, the girl had done this countless times. Therefore, the girl was now immune to it. Looking at Lin Rei lying in the bathwater, the girl took a rough item that looked like a scrub and rubbed it on Lin Rei's body. Her movements were very gentle, as if she had already used all her strength to hurt Lin Rei. Looking at Lin Rei lying in the water, the girl couldn't help but be stunned. Little brother, can you wake up? I really want you to talk to me. Yes, who's talking? At this moment, Lin Rei was running around aimlessly in the misty space. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in his ears. In an instant, Lin Rei was stunned. Gradually, Lin Rei uncontrollably returned to reality. He felt his body cooling and a hand groping his body. In an instant, Lin Rei opened his eyes abruptly. Glancing around, Lin Li saw that in this unfamiliar environment, there was a woman who didn't seem to be in a good mood, but had a pair of watery eyes. She was carefully wiping his body. Linley was stunned. "Little brother, I really want to." Just as the girl was speaking to Linley, she raised her head and saw that the person who had been unconscious for a long time was staring at her with his eyes wide open. Instantly, the girl stood up, her face red with embarrassment, and ran outside, calling out to the people outside. "Grandpa! Grandpa, come and take a look. The person you saved is awake. Grandpa! Grandpa, come and take a look. You saved." Looking at the girl who ran out, Lin Ray was stunned. At this moment, Lin Ray's mind was very fuzzy. The first question he asked when he woke up was, "Who am I?" Then, a lot of questions popped up. Who am I? Where am I? What happened to me? Where's my family? A series of questions popped up in the boy's mind, but he couldn't find an answer. In the end, Lin Ray gave up when he couldn't figure it out. "Huh, little friend, how do you feel? Are you feeling better?" Just as Lin Ray was in a daze, a white-haired old man walked in from the door. When he saw that Lin Ray was really awake, some warm and considerate words blended into Lin Ray's mind. "Old. Grandpa, I'm fine. It's just a little, oh, what's wrong?" Hearing Lin Ray's words, the old man quickly came forward and began to examine Lin Ray in all aspects. "No. Actually, it's nothing. It's just that I don't seem to remember what happened before. Now, in my mind, there's nothing except for the girl beside you. I don't know if Grandpa knows where I'm from. Where is my home? Who is it? Ugh. This old man doesn't know either. When I saved you back then, you had nothing on you. Other than your body being covered in blood, you were also covered in wounds. However, when you were unconscious, those wounds healed on their own. Now, they are almost healed. It's just that you lost too much blood, so your body is a little weak." Oh, so that's the case. Originally, he thought that the old man who saved him might know about his background. But now, it seems that there's no hope. Thinking of this, Lin Ray's face showed a trace of disappointment. "Well, since you don't remember who you are, why don't we just take things as they come? Since you don't have a name now, you don't have to follow mine. Anyway, you don't know who you are now, so I can't keep calling you little doll." Hee hee. Hearing the old man's explanation, Lin Ray nodded. After all, the old man was right. Since he didn't remember who he was, then it was better to live a good life here. "Okay, then thank you, Grandpa." Hee hee, that's right. Since you agreed, then take this old man's surname. This old man's surname is Jean. Why don't you call yourself Jean Roy? Roy as in auspicious, okay. The old man's face was happy. Lin Ray didn't refuse and directly agreed. "Okay, Grandpa, I'll take your surname from now on. I'll be called Jean Roy." Hee hee, why are you still calling me Grandpa? Since you already know my surname is Jean, why can't you call me Grandpa? After hearing the old man's words, Lin Ray helplessly shook his head and said with a smile, "Hee hee, I can afford it, Grandpa." "Hey, is that right? Ha ha ha, I also have a grandson. Let's see if this old man still laughs at me in the future." When the old man finished speaking and saw Lin Ray, Jean Roy, again, he instantly became stupefied. At this time, Jean Roy had already fainted in the water. "Ah, Brother Roy, what happened to Brother Roy?" At this moment, the girl who was standing at the side hurriedly rushed over and helped Linley up, placing him on the bed. "Grandpa. Grandpa, quickly take a look. What happened to Brother Roy? Why did he faint again?" After helping Lin Ray to the bed, the girl hurriedly went to the old man's side and asked anxiously. "Io, Linger, look at you. When I was sick, why didn't you care about me like this? How long has this kid been here? Since you took care of him so meticulously, tell me, are you?" "Ah. Grandpa, don't talk nonsense. I was just following your order to take care of him." After saying that, she walked out. When she ran to the door, the girl couldn't help but shout to the old man, "Grandpa, remember to take care of Brother Roy. It's late, I'm going to sleep." Her voice gradually disappeared. The old man looked at his granddaughter, who ran out with a worried face. He went to Jean Roy's side to check if there was anything wrong with him and left. Sigh, the moment the door closed, Jean Roy, who was originally unconscious, woke up. Sigh. What the hell happened? Why can't I remember who I am? Who am I? At this time, as long as Jean Roy slept, the boy would have these questions lingering in his mind. Sigh. Forget it, maybe this is God's will to let me relive it all over again? Perhaps those memories from before weren't very good memories. After that, a feeling of exhaustion crept into his heart. He closed his eyes and fell asleep. This sleep was very sweet. It wasn't until noon the next day that Lin Ray woke up from his sleep. Lin Ray, who was lying on the bed, slowly opened his eyes. The old man was familiar with everything. Lin Ray knew that he was still in the old man's house. Sigh. With a sigh, Lin Ray prepared to get up. But the girl from yesterday swaggered in, and Lin Ray realized that he wasn't wearing any clothes. You go out first. I'm not wearing any clothes," Jean Roy said to the girl embarrassedly. His face couldn't help but blush. Chapter 167. The girl who walked in saw that the boy who had been in a coma for nearly 3 months was actually so shy. The little girl laughed, her voice clear and pleasant. Jean Roy couldn't help but be stunned. "Brother Roy, what are you shy about? I've been helping you bathe and feeding you medicine for the past 2 months. I'm not afraid. What are you afraid of? Really?" As she spoke, the girl didn't care whether Lin Ray was wearing clothes or not. Anyway, she had already seen what she needed to see. Why would she care about what he looked like now? She didn't care about Lin Ray's current situation and directly walked over. Then, she handed over the new clothes to Jean Roy. "Brother Roy, try it on and see if it fits." Looking at the clothes, Lin Ray glanced at the corner of his eyes and saw that the girl's fingers were bleeding. However, the blood didn't flow onto the clothes. Looking at the new clothes, Jean Roy knew that the clothes must have been made by the girl last night. Therefore, Thank you for making clothes for me. I still don't know your name." Seeing this scene, Lin Ray didn't say anything. Instead, he silently swore in his heart that he would never let the girl in front of him suffer any harm in the future. "Oh, I'll raise you. Hee, my name is Jean Ling. Grandpa calls me Ling. In the future, you can also call me that." After speaking, the girl blushed. Then, she threw the clothes on Jean Roy's body and ran out. Hee. Seeing Jean Ling run out, Jean Roy laughed. Then, he put on the clothes and walked out of the room. The moment he came out, a gust of wind blew over. Lin Ray, who had been lying in the room for a long time, was really not used to it. "Hey. You're the outsider who was saved by old man Jean, right?" At this time, a group of people popped out from the wall and shouted at Lin Ray with serious hostility. "Yes, if it's just me, I think you're talking about me. What's wrong?" Outsider, I don't know how you came here. As long as I know, our village doesn't welcome you. Ling doesn't welcome you either. I think you should leave as soon as possible. Otherwise." When they heard Lin Ray admit it, their faces immediately turned cold. Their eyes carried a hint of killing intent as they threatened Lin Ray. "Oh, you mean you want to do something to me? But I hate it when people threaten me, especially ants like you." What's going on? Why would I say such a thing? At that moment, Lin Ray came to his senses. The words he had said before were not his own. He had just inadvertently blurted them out after hearing what those people said. Ha, listen to what this brat said. He said that we are ants? Ha ha ha. When those people heard Jean Roy's words, they burst into laughter. Their laughter was filled with disdain and ridicule. Humph, let me tell you, in Shuaikan village, other than me, no one has ever dared to say that to me. If it weren't for Jean Ling, let me tell you, you would have died today. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Just you wait, I'll be back. As they said that, they seemed to have seen someone. Their faces changed drastically and they quickly fled. Seeing that they had fled, Lin Rei turned around and saw that Jean Ling had unknowingly appeared behind him. Ling Er, when did you come? Brother Roy, if they come again in the future, call me out. They are all little bullies in the village. They don't do anything good every day. They come out to bully people every day. Basically, all the children in the village have been bullied by them. So when they see a newcomer again, they have the urge to bully him. Hearing Jean Ling's words, Lin Rei smiled and did not say anything. Instead, he walked towards the room. Hey, Brother Roy, what's wrong with you? Why are you ignoring me? Seeing that Jean Roy did not say anything after hearing what she said and turned to walk towards the room, Jean Ling was stunned for a moment. She thought that she had said something wrong. As soon as Jean Roy left, Jean Ling followed. What's wrong, Brother Roy? Did Ling Er say something wrong? Jean Ling, who walked in, saw Jean Roy sitting on the bed and looking at her with a serious expression. Jean Ling was a little scared for a moment. Phew. Ling Er, I want to live alone. I don't want to live in your house all the time. It's inconvenient. Finally, Jean Roy spoke. But when Jean Ling heard his words, she was stunned on the spot. She stared blankly at Jean Roy, who was sitting on the bed. No one knew what she was thinking. Why? Does Brother Roy think that our family can't afford to raise you? No, since I'm already here and I've lost my memory, I have to plan for the long term. I plan to go out and live alone. This way, I won't be the subject of ridicule and people won't gossip about you. You see, they came here today for you. So, I think it's better for me to leave. The old man, Jean Ling, spoke in a choked voice. Jean Roy did not suppress what he wanted to say because of this. But, I don't mind. I know that girls don't mind. Why do you mind? Or is it that I'm not pretty enough and I'm making you lose face? Jean Weiming couldn't be bothered to say anything when he saw the old man's appearance. He stood up and walked out. However, this time, Jean Weiming didn't stay in the courtyard. After asking around, he went to the village chief's residence. Looking at the courtyard made of mud, Lin Rei walked up and knocked on the door. Dong dong dong, the knocking sounds were not very loud, but they could still be heard inside. Sure enough, after a while, a man's deep voice came from the room. Who is it? It's noon. After a while, a person walked out. It was Jean Roy's people. This was the person who climbed up Jean Ling's wall to threaten him. You? Why are you here? Didn't I tell you? If I see you again, I won't be polite to you. You. Seeing this person again, Jean Roy was also very surprised, but Jean Roy did not want to be too entangled with him. While the man was talking, Lin Rei walked in through the gap at the side. When the man who was talking saw this scene, his face showed an awkward expression. Hey, can you not barge into other people's homes? Do you know that this is very bad behavior? Jean Roy did not seem to have the intention to pay attention to him at all. He ignored him and walked into the room. When he entered the room, he saw an old man who looked like Jean Roy, but not as old as Jean Roy's grandfather. He was sitting at the table with a bottle in his hand, as if it was coming from inside. For a moment, Jean Roy's past love of drinking was brought out by the wine in the old man's hand. Hee, kiddo, I've never seen you in the village. Kiddo, you're the one who descended from the sky and brought back to life a person that no one thought you could bring back to life in less than 3 months. Hearing the old man's words, Lin Rei did not deny it and nodded. Then he walked up, sat directly opposite the old man, and said respectfully, "I know you're the village chief. I'm here to survive here. I'm here to beg you. Can you arrange an empty or abandoned house for me in the village? Even if you don't have a house, you can just find a random place. I'll build my own house." "Oh. Is that why you're here? I heard that you are living in old man Jin's house. Why do you want to live out now?" Hearing Jin Roi's words, the old man could not help but be surprised for a moment, then he recovered and asked Jin Roi. "Since I have already planned to live here for a long time, then I must have my own house. So I beg the village chief to arrange a house for me. I know that everything is not for free. I can hunt, and I will use the meat I hunt to exchange for it. I will give you double the amount of meat that the house is worth. What do you think?" Hearing Jin Roi's reason and such tempting conditions, who would not agree? Meat was a good thing on this island, so the old man did not even think about it and agreed. "Okay, but you have to do as you say. The prey on our island is not so easy to hunt." "Yes, I know. I will do as I say, as long as you give me what I want." Hearing Jin Roi's words, the old man hurriedly told Lin Rei the address of the house and told the entire village that the house would be Jin Roi's in the future. He also warned everyone that Jin Roi would be a person of Shuaikan village in the future. After that, life returned to normal. After Jin Roi obtained the house, he simply tidied it up. As long as the house was clean, it was fine. Then he went to find a knife and walked into the forest. Phew. Let's begin. I just don't know what this prey is. After entering the forest, Jin Roi walked for a while and encountered some rabbits and pheasants. Under Jin Roi's relentless pursuit, he finally caught more than 10 rabbits and pheasants in a short while. Seeing so much prey, Jin Roi wiped the sweat off his head and carried the prey back to the village. "Forget it, let's go to Jin Ling's house. They have taken care of me for so long, I should thank them." After returning to the village, Jin Roi made up his mind and brought the prey to Jin Ling's house. Along the way, when everyone saw what Lin Rei was carrying on his back, they all revealed shocked expressions. It was as if they had seen something that happened once in 1,000 years, making Jin Roi feel uncomfortable all over. Jin Ling, are you home?" When he arrived at Jin Ling's house, Jin Roi was not in a hurry to go in. Instead, he shouted at the door. Jia, Jin Ling's figure walked out after a while. When she saw what Lin Rei was carrying, her face revealed the same shocked expression as the other villagers. "Brother Roi, you. How did you get this?" "Ha ha ha, are you stupid? Of course I called. Don't tell me you walked over and got caught by me." Chapter 168. At this time, Jin Roi was very puzzled. Why were there so many people looking at him on the way back? At that time, Jin Roi thought he was an outsider, so it was like this. He didn't expect that when he returned to Jin Ling's place, it was still the same scene. At this time, Lin Rei knew that this matter was not as he thought. "Brother Roi, do you know? On our island, eating meat is so extravagant, but you brought back so much meat today. How can the villagers not be surprised?" "What? Eating meat is extravagant? That's not right. There are so many wild hares and pheasants on the mountain. If they want to eat meat, they can go up and hunt. Why would you say that?" When Jin Roi heard Jin Ling's words, his face showed a puzzled expression. At this time, he was very puzzled. "You don't know. That's because those things run too fast, so we can't catch them. But today is different. I didn't expect Brother Roi to catch so many at once. It's really great. However, Brother Roi, why don't we take advantage of this time to distribute these and keep a few? This can ease the gap between you and the villagers. You decide. I don't know about this. Since the things have been delivered, I'll go back first." Hearing Jin Ling's words, Jean Roy smiled and then took a wild hair and left. At this time, Jean Ling's face was red as she thought about Jean Roy's words of, "You decide." After Jean Roy left, Jean Ling listened for a long time before she woke up from her infatuation. Then, she took the rabbits and pheasants that Jean Roy caught and delivered them to each house. Every time she went to a house, she would say, "This is my brother Roy's gift to you. I hope you can take care of me in the future." Soon, Jean Roy finished delivering more than a dozen rabbits and pheasants. Although it was far from enough, he could only deliver these. Jean Ling passed by Jean Roy's house and pushed the door in. She saw Jean Roy holding a knife and cutting the rabbit meat. "Brother Roy, how can you do this kind of work? Let me do it." When Jean Ling came in and saw that Lin Ray's movements were particularly slow, she strode forward and grabbed the knife in Jean Roy's hand. Then, she began to cook for Lin Ray. Seeing this, Lin Ray didn't refuse. Seeing that Jean Ling was cooking, he sat at the side and quietly watched Jean Ling's back. There was an indescribable peace in his heart. After a long time, the cooked meal was placed on the broken table by Jean Ling. Seeing this scene, Jean Roy's eyes lit up. "Hee, brother Roy, hurry up and eat. Otherwise, the food will get cold." At this time, Jean Ling, who had already finished everything last night, turned her head and saw Jean Roy's greedy expression. She couldn't help but smile. This smile made Lin Ray shift his attention from the food on the table to her face. Although this smile couldn't be considered as a devastatingly beautiful woman, it was still extremely beautiful. What's wrong with you?" When Jean Ling saw Jean Roy staring at her, she came to Jean Roy's side with a red face and asked softly. Oh, eat." Hearing Jean Ling's voice, Jean Roy returned to his senses and awkwardly changed the topic. He hurriedly came to the table and began to wolf down the food cooked by Jean Ling. Cough, cough. Cough, cough. Cough. In a moment of carelessness, Jean Roy ate too quickly and choked to the point of coughing. For a moment, his face turned red from coughing. "Brother Roy, slow down. No one is fighting with you." When Jean Ling saw Jean Roy's appearance, she hurriedly went to get a bowl of water and handed it to Jean Roy. Her other hand gently patted Jean Roy's back to help him breathe normally. Cough. Cough, cough. "That, Ling, sit down and eat." Cough. "I can't finish it alone." After drinking the water, Jean Roy felt much better and said softly to Jean Ling, "Okay." Jean Ling sat down, picked up the food that was already prepared, and ate slowly. When Jean Roy saw this scene, he became even more infatuated. His hand that was about to reach into his mouth unconsciously stopped in the air after seeing Jean Ling's eating posture. Of course, Jean Ling, who was eating, also felt this scene. However, she did not raise her head and allowed Jean Roy to admire her. This was because this was what he had been looking forward to. How could she be so stupid as to ruin this scene? This meal was very difficult. It was as if the two of them had slowed down. After a few hours, Jean Ling raised her head and looked at Jean Roy, who was looking at her with infatuation. Then, she stood up and quickly went to Jean Roy's side. She kissed Jean Roy's face at lightning speed and quickly ran out. Jean Roy's face was very cold. Ha. Ha. Ha ha ha. After a long time, Jean Roy came back to his senses and recalled the scene where Jean Ling kissed him on the face before she left. For a moment, Lin Ray fell under Jean Ling's pomegranate skirt. When Jean Ling returned home, she went into her room and secretly giggled. Her face was even redder than before. She couldn't help but recall the scene where she kissed Jean Roy. I'm so embarrassed. I don't know what Brother Roy is thinking. I don't care. I'll ask him tomorrow. After thinking it through, Jean Ling lay on the bed and closed her eyes to sleep. At this moment, Jean Roy wasn't as calm as Jean Ling. At this moment, Jean Roy was lying on the bed, tossing and turning, but he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about today's scene and his heart burned like fire. It was unbearable. Ah. What's going on? No, I can't sleep at all. In the end, Jean Roy chose a way to vent, and that was to go deep into the mountains to hunt for tomorrow's meal. Jean Roy immediately stood up and took the long knife that he had used to hunt today. Then, he set off on his hunting journey. This time, Jean Roy planned to get a bigger one and share it with all the villagers. With Jean Roy's speed, it didn't take long for him to reach the place where he hunted. However, after waiting for a long time, no prey appeared. Jean Roy could only choose to go deeper into the mountains. Not long after, he saw a white snow fox. This fox skin can be used to make a dress for Ling. Thinking of this, Lin Ray changed his mind. As the saying goes, quiet as a virgin, moving like a rabbit. Lin Ray was like the king of the forest, moving quickly. Compared to Jean Roy, one was like a son and the other was like a father. They couldn't be compared at all. A white shadow of a beast was running in front, and a human shadow was chasing behind it. Just like this, it didn't take long for Jean Roy to catch the running snow fox. He found a place with a water source and began the process of skinning the snow fox. Although Jean Roy wasn't very familiar with it, he still finished it in the end. A perfect, snow-white snow fox skin appeared in Jean Roy's hands. Although the snow fox skin was stained with blood, it disappeared without a trace after being washed in water. Ling will definitely like it. Maybe she will even cook a meal for me. At this moment, Jean Roy held the washed snow fox skin in his hands and looked into the distance with a yearning expression. A woo. A woo. A woo. A wolf's howl came from the surroundings, pulling Jean Roy back to reality from his fantasy. The smile on his face disappeared as well. The old man was surrounded by a group of green eyes. Jean Roy hurriedly tightened his grip on his broadsword and defended himself. A woo. At this time, another wolf howl was heard, as if it was an order for the wolf pack to attack. After the howl, the wolf pack, which had been motionless before, suddenly rushed towards Jean Roy in a frenzy. Damn, it seems like it's impossible to be kind today. Seeing the pack of wolves charging over, Linley smiled. The corners of his mouth curled upwards, revealing a murderous expression. If Linley's enemies were here, they would definitely recognize that this ordinary person with no cultivation at all was the god of death, Linley, who had slaughtered them all, leaving not even a chicken or a dog alive. Die for me. In an instant, Jean Roy didn't hesitate and directly rushed towards the wolf pack with a watermelon knife. Puff, puff, puff. The sound of Jean Roy slashing echoed. Everywhere Jean Roy passed by, there would be wolf corpses on the spot, blood constantly flowing out. As the saying goes, the night is dark and the wind is strong. All of you come. Today, I will take you back and let all the villagers eat meat. At this time, Jean Roy was completely blinded by the pleasure of killing. He didn't know how to listen anymore. At this time, Jean Roy seemed to have returned to the time when he didn't lose his memory. A woo. At this time, there was a snow-white wolf standing at the highest point, issuing orders to the wolf pack. So it was you who caused trouble for me. When Jean Roy understood everything, he directly gave up on the ordinary wolf pack below and went straight to the wolf king at the top of the mountain to kill. Wherever Jean Roy passed, there would be mountains of corpses and seas of blood. No ordinary wolf could withstand one move from Jean Roy. Die for me. I want to give your meat to Jean Ling, so don't struggle. Seeing the Wolf King's struggling eyes, Lin Ray smiled and then directly jumped up. 10 meters high, he arrived in front of the Wolf King in an instant. Taking advantage of the momentum, he directly plunged the watermelon knife into the Wolf King's skull. A woo. The Wolf King let out a mournful cry. Not long after, the Wolf King fell unconscious. Seeing this scene, Jean Roy carried the Wolf King over his shoulder and picked up some of the fatter wolves. Then, he walked back to the mountain village with the snow fox fur. Along the way, anyone who smelled the blood on his body would retreat. Chapter 169. She didn't know how deep Jean Roy went into the forest. He walked from night to night and only returned to the place where he hunted rabbits last night. Phew. How deep did I go? It took me so long to get here. At this time, Jean Roy was calculating in his heart. Later, he remembered that when he went into the mountain at night, he was empty. But now, he came back with a beast that weighed almost 1,000 pounds. Jean Roy was relieved. Dong. Jean Roy came to a place where he could rest. Then, he threw the beast that he carried for the whole night on the ground and sat on a stone to rest, panting. What Jean Roy didn't know was that Jean Ling had already planned to go to his house today to ask about it. When Jean Ling came to Jean Roy's house as promised, she found that the door was not closed. Jia. Jean Ling pushed the door open and went in. Then, she searched all the places that she could find, but she couldn't find Jean Roy. This time, Jean Ling was anxious. Brother Roy, where did you go? Come out. I won't dare to do it again. Please come out, okay? Boo-hoo. When Jean Ling couldn't find Jean Roy, she sat directly at the gate and cried, apologizing to Jean Roy. Of course, this scene was known by the whole village in an instant. After a while, all the villagers of Shuaikan village came to Jean Roy's door. The old man was crying Jean Ling. Everyone's first thought wasn't that Jean Roy couldn't find her, but that Jean Ling might have been bullied by Jean Roy. Seeing that Jean Ling was crying very sadly, no one went forward to stop her. They just watched Jean Ling sitting at the gate and crying. They could only sigh and feel sorry for her. Sigh. Such a good girl was bullied by an outsider just like that. What do you think this is called? Yeah, I was going to go to his house to be a matchmaker. You see, now, this, no, how can we let an outsider bully the people of Shuaikan village? No, we have to do something. Otherwise, he will think that we are easy to bully. After everyone's discussion, they finally came to a conclusion that they had to avenge Jean Ling. They couldn't let Jean Ling be bullied. After coming to this conclusion, they all went back home and immediately took out their weapons that could kill or beat people. They hurriedly came to the entrance of the village to wait for Jean Roy, who was pretending that he had escaped. At this time, Jean Roy happened to be resting and carried all the dead beasts back to the village. Coincidentally, he bumped into the villagers. Hey, Auntie Anyo, look, I'll give you. Originally, when Lin Ray came back and saw them blocking the entrance of the village, he felt that something was wrong. This confirmed Jean Roy's conjecture even more. Before Jean Roy could finish speaking, he was blocked by Auntie Anyo. You beast, you still know to come back. You thought that we didn't care about your past enmity and took you in, but what about you? You actually did such an outrageous thing. Tell me, are you worthy of us? In my opinion, you might as well kill yourself so that you don't tarnish our eyes. That's right. That's right. Under Auntie Anyo's verbal attack, everyone started to roar at Lin Ray. Some people even started to hit him. Even the very young children threw stones at Jean Roy. However, they never saw that behind Jean Roy were the corpses of the Wolf King and many wild wolves. They also didn't see the blood on Lin Ray's body and the blood-soaked broadsword on his back. At this moment, in their eyes, Jean Roy was still the beast in their hearts. He was the beast who had tarnished Jean Ling. Ha. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Fine, fine, fine. Since that's the case, then those who had nothing to do with me before are even more unrelated now. You don't owe me anything, and I don't owe you anything. From today onwards, I, Jean Roy, oh no, I, Lin Yu, am no longer a person of your water barrier village. I'm not familiar with you, and I won't stay in the village house anymore. At this moment, no matter how wronged Lin Ray felt, it was no longer important. It was just that the name he changed at the last minute was similar to Lin Rei's name. Perhaps it was fate. Looking at the crowd, Lin Rei could see deep disgust and contempt in everyone's eyes. This was what Lin Yu couldn't tolerate the most. Therefore, Lin Rei decided to leave. Looking at the village that had nothing to do with him, the only thing that Lin Yu couldn't let go of was Jinling. But now, turning around, Lin Yu's tears streaked across her eyes and fell to the ground. She reached out and carried the corpses of the Wolf King and the normal wolves on her back. Once again, she walked into the forest. This time, Lin Yu did not enter voluntarily. She was forced into it. Step by step, Lin Yu carried the Wolf King's corpse on her back. She carried the heavy body of the Wolf King and walked into the forest. At this moment, everyone realized that before Lin Yu left, she was carrying the meat on her back and her tattered clothes, as well as the dried blood on her body. Everyone was stunned. Sigh. Let's go back and tell Jinling. Tell her that we've avenged her and no one will bully her anymore. At this time, it was still Auntie Anyo who spoke. Bring this kind of person to dinner. Previously, in front of the door where Jean Roy and Lin Yu once lived, it was still Auntie Anyo who stood up and spoke to the sobbing Jinling. Don't be sad. We've already taught the brat who hurt you a lesson. Now, he's in our village and will never appear in front of you again. Yes. This is your Auntie Anyo's idea. This time, we've avenged you. Yes, yes. Lin Yu, who had changed her name, was startled after hearing the words of the uncles and aunts who had watched her grow up. What? What's wrong with you? What did you say just now? Hurry up and tell me. What did you do just now? At this time, Jinling was no longer as pitiful as before. At this time, she was like a frightened mother who came out to protect her child. She roared at everyone crazily. Her face was frighteningly ferocious. Everyone couldn't help but take a step back in fear. Ha! Ha! Jinling, what's wrong with you? We're just avenging you. There's no need to, tell us, Brother Roy. Where did Brother Roy go? Tell us, where did he go? At this moment, after seeing Jinling's appearance, everyone had a premonition that they had wronged Lin Yu this time. He went deep into the forest and said that he would never come back. Also, this time, after hearing Jinling's words, a child told the situation at that time. But when he reached the end of the sentence, the child stopped himself. Also, what's wrong with him? Tell us, what did you say? At this moment, everyone was sure that they had indeed wronged Lin Yu. After hearing Jinling's words, Auntie Anyo couldn't help but finish the sentence that the child didn't finish. Also, he's not called Jean Roy anymore. He suddenly changed his name in front of everyone and became Lin Yu. Also said that we don't owe him anything. He doesn't owe us anything. Probably won't come back in the future. With a boom, after hearing everyone's answers, Jinling's head seemed to explode. She was in extreme pain, and in the end, her eyes rolled back and she fainted. Jinling, how could you? Don't scare us. Seeing that Jinling had fainted, everyone hurriedly carried Lin Rei back to her house and handed him over to Grandpa Jin. They also told him everything that had happened before without leaving out anything. After listening to the villagers' words, Grandpa Jin sighed slightly and said, Sigh. It seems that he won't come back in the future. At this moment, Grandpa Jin didn't dwell on it too much. Instead, he came to Jinling's bedside and sighed, What is love? It makes people want to live and die together. It seems that Ling has completely fallen in love with that person. After sighing, Grandpa Jin walked out of the room. Jinling, who was lying on the bed in a coma, couldn't stop her tears from flowing down. As for Lin Yu, who had been forced out of the forest by the crowd, she found a cave and went to find some trees to make some beds, tables, doors, and so on. After that, she stored the prey that she had hunted. Sigh. It seems that a peaceful life doesn't belong to me after all. Back then, Grandpa Jean said that I fell from the sky and my body was covered in blood. It seems that only by finding the clothes that I was wearing back then can I know what happened back then. At this time, it was already night. After Lin Ray was done with his work, he sat on the bed and silently recalled his experience on this isolated island. However, no matter how he thought about it, he always felt that there seemed to be something that was preventing him from finding out the truth of the matter. Under that barrier, he was indeed so powerless. Forget it, let's get my things back first. With that, Lin Ray stood up and prepared to leave Shuaikan village. However, when he thought of Jean Ling, Lin Yu couldn't help but walk back. He immediately took the snow fox skin that he had hunted for Jean Ling and walked out. Originally, it wasn't very easy to travel, but for some reason, Lin Yu was always able to see the road clearly at night. Very quickly, Lin Yu snuck into Water Barrier Village and then, based on his memories, arrived at Old Man Jin's home. Jia. The door was pushed open by Lin Yu. However, the light was still on inside. Grandpa Jean sat upright beside the light as if he was waiting for his arrival. Hee, I knew that you would come back because you wanted to find the lost memories. In order to find the lost memories, you must find the clothes that you were wearing when you came here. Am I right? Chapter 170. Lin Yu was slightly surprised when she heard Old Man Jean speak his thoughts without missing a single word. However, this was something that Lin Yu had already thought of. You're absolutely right. Originally, I thought that I wouldn't need to recover my memories and just live here for the rest of my life. But they forced you onto the path of killing again because of some small matter. You were very disappointed. You wanted to use your actions to integrate with them, but they didn't give you a chance, right? Lin Ray couldn't help but nod when he heard Old Man Jin's words. He admired him in his heart. Old Man Jean could see what he was thinking at a glance, but they, sigh. All of this is because of their ignorance. They don't understand your painstaking efforts. Since that's the case, then let's go along with their wishes as soon as possible. Anyway, you don't feel very comfortable here, do you? Hee, Old Man Jean knows me well. You're right. After I woke up, I was very resistant to this feeling in my heart. Later on, I moved out, but I still couldn't escape the path I should take. Sometimes, you don't have to change your path. You just have to go with the flow. Everything else isn't important. Just be yourself. Old Man Jean stood up and took out the clothes he took off from his body from the wooden box beside him. For a moment, Lin Yu was stunned because the appearance of the clothes was completely different from what Old Man Jean had described. At this moment, Lin Ray saw that it was very extravagant. There was no trace of blood. Instead, it was quite gorgeous. This is the clothes you were wearing when you fell from a high altitude. At that time, it was indeed stained with blood. However, after a few days of listening, the blood stains disappeared bit by bit. Before I knew it, the blood stains had disappeared. Hearing Old Man Jin's words, Lin Ray nodded and then walked out of the door. Old Man Jin, you, give this to Ling, Take it as a gift for taking care of me. Although the gift isn't very expensive, I did put in a lot of effort. Lin Yu stopped at the door and threw the snow fox skin to Old Man Jin. Then, she walked out without looking back. Sigh. He's also infatuated. I really don't know if I should let them be together or not. At this moment, Old Master Jean couldn't make up his mind about the snow fox skin in his hands. Cough. Cough, cough, cough. Grandfather, just when Old Master Jean couldn't make up his mind, it was as if the heavens had already made a decision for him. Come in. It just so happens that I have something to talk to you about. It just so happens that you're here now. Looking at Jean Ling at the door, Old Man Jean sat directly on the bed. Jean Ling had already arrived in front of Old Man Jean, but at this time, Jean Ling was a little weak. What's wrong, Grandpa? Jean Ling opened her mouth. Her voice was very weak. When she saw the tender look on her face, it really made people's hearts ache. Yes, here. Lin Yu asked me to give this to you just now. She said it's a gift for you to take care of him. Old Master Jean, who had already made a decision, took out the snow fox skin and handed it directly to Jean Ling. What? He was here? Hearing her grandfather's words, Jean Ling's body froze. She wanted to chase after him, but when she remembered that there was still a relative sitting in front of her, Jean Ling held back. Sigh. Go. Go after him. Maybe he hasn't gone far yet. Since the heavens have made a decision for you, then I'm just going against the heavens by stopping him. Saying that, Old Man Jin's eyes were filled with tears. One of his hands kept chasing Jean Ling out. He didn't want his granddaughter to lose the love she should have had. Boo-hoo. I know. I know, Grandpa. After saying that, Jean Ling knelt on the ground and bid farewell to Old Man Jean. She turned around and chased after him while shouting Lin Yu's current name. Lin Yu, wait for me. At this moment, Jean Ling didn't seem to be sick at all. She chased after Lin Yu, who had already gone far away, and kept shouting. When Lin Yu, who was walking in front, heard someone calling her name from behind, she thought it was an illusion. However, when she really heard someone calling her name, and it was the person she had been thinking about in her heart, Lin Yu turned her head and saw Jean Ling chasing after her with all her might. Suddenly, Jean Ling, who was almost in front of her, was tripped by something. When she was about to fall, Lin Yu's eyes were sharp and his hands were quick. He rushed forward and hugged Jean Ling in his arms. At this moment, the two of them seemed to be frozen. Both of them maintained the same position and didn't change their positions. After persisting for more than 10 minutes, Jean Ling asked Lin Yu with a blushing face. Lin Yu, are you going to hug me like this? Oh, Jean Ling's words broke the beautiful peace. At this moment, the two of them were like children who hadn't experienced the world. Why are you here? At this moment, Lin Yu finally couldn't help but ask Jean Ling. Her tone was full of worry. You're still talking about it. If it weren't for you who didn't even say a word, would I be sitting in front of your house crying? If it weren't for me crying, the villagers wouldn't misunderstand you, and I wouldn't have fainted. All of this is for you, and now you're asking me why I'm here? After hearing Jean Ling pouring out her grievances to Lin Yu smiled awkwardly. I just went hunting. Who knew that I would cause so much trouble later on? Besides, it's just nice that I'm living in the forest. Silly. Seeing Lin Yu's expression, Jean Ling walked over and held Lin Yu's hand. She walked towards the depths of the forest, but was stopped by Lin Yu. Jean Ling, you can't enter here. In here, life is death. I can't be by your side all the time, so I don't want to take this risk. Don't worry, I'm not afraid. Besides, my grandfather has already agreed. Even if I go back, he will chase me back. So, I'm already yours. As long as you don't let me down in this life, I'm not afraid of anything. After saying that, Jean Ling walked towards the depths of the forest. This time, Lin Ray didn't say anything. He walked up, held Jean Ling's hand, and brought her back to the place where he was living now. Wow, Brother Lin Yu, the place you're living now is really nice. I've never lived in a cave before. After hearing Jean Ling's words, Lin Yu, who had just walked in, fainted. He had never heard anyone say that a cave was nice. Alright, it's getting late. Let's go to sleep. After saying that, Jean Ling came to the bed and began to take off her clothes. Looking at her posture, she didn't care about Lin Yu's presence at all. I'll go out first. Seeing this scene, Lin Yu said to Jean Ling and walked out. But at this moment, he was stopped by Jean Ling. Lin Yu, come back. When I came in, I already said that I'm already yours when I left the Jean family. What do you want me to do if you do this? After saying that, Jean Ling walked behind Lin Yu and gently hugged his waist. She said softly to Lin Rei, Lin Yu, take me. Let me be your wife. I want to wait for you to come back from hunting every day. I want to serve you. I want to wait at home every day for you to come back for dinner. Woo-woo. Just when Jean Ling was talking enthusiastically, Lin Yu turned around and blocked Jean Ling's mouth with his. 5 minutes later, when both of them were almost out of breath, Lin Yu finally parted his lips reluctantly. Jean Ling, don't worry. In the future, I'll treat you well. You're the woman that I, Lin Yu, love the most in my life. I'll definitely not make you sad, not make you unhappy, and not let you suffer any grievances. After saying that, Lin Yu carried Jean Ling up in a princess carry. He slowly walked to the wooden bed and gently placed Jean Ling on the bed. At this moment, Jean Ling's blushing cheeks were like a red apple, making people want to take a bite out of it. Lin Yu, you have to be gentler. I will. After hearing Jean Ling's words, Lin Yu began to live a life that was worth 1,000 gold. The night passed slowly. In the latter half of the night, it started to drizzle as if to congratulate Lin Yu on his good deed. The rain only stopped in the morning. At this moment, Lin Yu and Jean Ling were lying on the bed. Lin Rei cut off the snow wolf's skin and used it as a blanket. At this moment, it was covering Lin Yu's brother, Jean Ling. Are you hungry? Why don't I get up and cook for you? At this moment, Jean Ling, who was lying beside Lin Yu, looked at the man that she would never forget for the rest of her life and got up to prepare breakfast for him. Don't lie down for a while more. Anyway, I killed a wolf king. Its meat is enough for us to eat for a while. Oh, got it. Just like that, the two of them lay down until the afternoon. Only then did Lin Yu put on his clothes. Of course, Jean Ling also put on her clothes and went to cook for Lin Yu. Seeing this scene, Lin Yu seemed to have a sense of home in his heart. After a slight smile, he walked out. After finding some wild fruits around his residence, he returned to his residence. At this moment, Jean Ling had already finished cooking and was standing at the door waiting for her husband to come back to eat. Seeing this scene, Lin Yu's heart that wanted to regain his memories completely calmed down. He felt that this was what he really wanted. Ling, it just finished raining outside. Besides, it's colder in the mountains than outside. Don't wait here in the future. Looking at his newlywed wife who was rubbing her hands and waiting for him to come back in the rain, Lin Yu's heart ached. At this moment, he came to her side and took off his clothes. Then, he put it on her body to warm her up. Chapter 171. I know. I'll wear more clothes in the future and wait for you outside. Okay. Looking at the clothes on her body, Jean Ling's eyes were filled with tenderness as she spoke to Lin Yu. Let's go. Look, I went around to pick some fruits for you. This way, you won't get sick of eating meat. As he spoke, Lin Yu hugged Jean Ling and returned to the cave. After entering, Lin Yu smelled waves of fragrance. On the table, Jean Ling had already placed the rice on the table and was waiting for him to return. Sorry, I won't make you wait in the future. As long as it's time to eat, I'll be back on time. Drenching the table, Lin Yu hurriedly sat down and ate big chunks. This meal could be said to be the best meal Lin Yu had in his life. After the meal, Lin Rei walked out again. When he returned, he had a few more animal skins in his hand. Ling, you'll have to work harder later and make more clothes for yourself. I know I can't stop you from waiting for me outside. The only thing I can do is to try my best not to let you catch a cold. As he spoke, Lin Rei passed the animal skins to Jean Ling and directly fell asleep on the bed. When Jean Ling saw this scene, her face revealed a blissful smile. Then, she helped Lin Yu take off his shoes and covered him with the thick snow wolf skin. Then, she began to sew the clothes. Lin Yu slept for a long time and only woke up the next morning. When she saw that Jin Ling was lying beside her without a blanket, she felt her heart ache. Silly girl, you don't know how to wake me up. Sleeping here like this, aren't you afraid that my heart will ache? Lin Yu took off the snow wolf skin on his body and covered Jin Ling's body. After that, he personally went to cook for her. What's that smell? After an unknown amount of time, Jin Ling woke up. However, she did not wake up naturally. Instead, she was smelled by a piece of meat that was not very fragrant but looked very delicious. It was placed in front of her, and her husband was removing the fat on the meat for her. Hee, you're awake? Then come and eat. As she spoke, Lin Yu came to Jin Ling's side and reached out to carry her to the dining table. Then, she personally fed her. Husband, you should eat too. This isn't your job anyway. I'll do it myself. Looking at her husband feeding her, Jin Ling felt that she was the happiest person in the world. Just like that, the cycle repeated itself. Every day, he would leave early and return late. Occasionally, he would flirt with Jin Ling. 3 months later, on this day, Jin Ling suddenly appeared behind Lin Yu and hugged her. Husband, do you know? Today is the happiest day of my life. I want to share it with you. Oh, what could make you more excited than seeing me? Hearing Lin Yu's teasing, Jin Ling rolled her eyes at Lin Yu and let her experience it herself. I'm pregnant. What? Because Jin Ling's voice was very soft, Lin Yu didn't hear it clearly and asked again. I said I'm pregnant. This time, Lin Ray heard it clearly. When he heard that he had a child, his heart was incomparably excited. Then, he hugged Jin Ling and spun around on the spot. His mouth couldn't help but look up to the sky and howl. Ha ha ha. I have a son. I'm going to be a father. I have a son. Looking at her husband's happy expression when he heard that she was pregnant, Jin Ling was very happy. Alright, Ling, These few days, I will give you some food for pregnant women. Also, try not to walk around. If you can sit, don't stand. If you can lie down, don't sit. In short, during this period of time, you must eat well and wear warm clothes. Try not to go out. Oh, no, don't go out to wait for me, okay? You're not alone now. We have a child now. Seeing her husband so nervous, Jin Ling couldn't help but smile because this was the first time she saw her husband so nervous. Alright, lie down for a while. I'll go out first. Don't cook. Although I'm not as good at cooking as you are, before you give birth to the child, I will take care of everything in the house, including cooking. Lin Ray didn't listen to Jin Ling's rebuttal and walked out. Before he went out, he locked the door and scattered some repellent on the door. This time, Lin Ray went to a place where there were no beasts and not in the mountains. Now that Jin Ling was pregnant, it wouldn't be good for her to live in the mountains. So, Lin Ray prepared to build a house in that place. Just like that, Lin Yu left early and returned late every day. Every time before he went out, he would make a lot of delicious food for Jin Ling and pick some fresh fruits from the surroundings. Just like that, day after day passed. Jin Ling's belly grew bigger day by day. The house that Lin Yu built outside was finally completed today after 5 months. Looking at the house in front of her, which she had spent 5 months building, Lin Yu was quite satisfied. There was a table, chairs, a place to cook, and even a bed. Lin Yu had built a big bed. There were all kinds of furs on it. Ha ha ha, I wonder if Jin Ling will be surprised when she sees this house. Saying that, Lin Yu returned home. After walking for a few kilometers with Jin Ling in his arms, he arrived at the place that he was going to live in. But along the way, Lin Yu covered Jin Ling's eyes with a piece of cloth, so Jin Ling was completely unaware of the situation. Ling, I'm going to show you the place that your husband has worked hard to build for the past few months. I'm sure you'll like it. Saying that, Lin Yu placed Jin Ling on the ground. After he removed the cloth, Jean Ling's shriek echoed far away. Ah. Hubby, this is the home that you've worked hard to build for the past 5 months? At this moment, Jean Ling was so touched that tears rolled down her cheeks. Seeing this scene, Lin Yu quickly stopped Jean Ling. Ling, you can't cry now. Besides, you can't be too agitated. If not, it won't be good for the fetus. Yes, I know. I just feel bad for hubby. I feel bad that you've been leaving early and returning late every day for the past 5 months. Saying that, Jean Ling snuggled into Lin Yu's embrace and stared at Lin Yu lovingly as though she wasn't willing to shift her gaze away for even a moment. All right. Actually, I found this place long ago. But back then, I wanted to let you stay here after you're pregnant. I didn't expect it to be so soon. Sigh. I didn't think it through enough. Hubby, thank you. I have no other wishes to be your woman in this life. Just like this, Lin Ray brought Jean Ling to stay here. Every day, Lin Yu would go out to hunt and return to help Jean Ling cook. However, Jean Ling's habit of waiting for Lin Yu couldn't be changed. If she didn't wait at the door every day, perhaps she would feel uncomfortable all over. A few months later. No, I can't, hubby. It hurts so much. Lin Yu thought that Jean Ling wouldn't give birth today, but he didn't expect that she would suddenly say that she was about to give birth. However, there wasn't a midwife by her side. In the end, Lin Yu had no choice but to do it himself. Ling, do your best. Do your best. Let's work harder and our child will be born. Let's work harder. At this moment, Lin Yu was heartbroken. He wished that he was the one lying on the bed instead of Jean Ling. He didn't want Jean Ling to suffer like this, but it was impossible. Hubby, I'm in so much pain. Hubby. Time passed slowly. Finally, under Jean Ling's efforts, the child was born. Wah. 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 In an instant, a baby's cries sounded from the room. At this moment, Jean Ling, who had just given birth, perhaps due to exhaustion. After giving birth, she fell into a deep sleep. Sigh. Ling, it's been hard on you. You actually gave birth to a son for me. After the child was born, Lin Ray knew that Jean Ling gave birth to a boy. Lin Yu decided to let the child follow his mother's surname. Child, from now on, you shall be called Jean N. As your father, I don't expect you to be successful. As long as you can repay your mother for the pain she went through when she gave birth to you, that will be enough. As he spoke, Lin Yu placed the child on Jean Ling's body. Then, he cleaned up the mess. Instantly, the room looked brand new. Lin Li went outside to cook for the sleeping Jean Ling. It wasn't until the next morning that Jean Ling woke up from her deep sleep. However, as soon as she woke up, she wanted to see the child. However, Lin Yu felt that they should eat first. In the end, he couldn't persuade Jean Ling and could only agree. Looking at the child in her arms, the crystallization of love between her and the person she loved, Jean Ling smiled. She smiled very happily. Husband, have you given the child a name yet? I've already named him. Looking at Jean Ling's appearance, Lin Ray couldn't help but say the child's name. I named him Jean N. What? Jean N? No, husband. How can he take my surname? No, you can't do that. When she heard that her husband had named the child, she resisted for a moment. Although Jean Ling was a little happy when she heard the name, she refused to let Lin Yu use the name no matter what. Stop fighting, Ling. I called him Jean N because I saw the pain you went through when you were giving birth to him. I want him to remember the pain you went through when he grew up. I don't want him to forget how difficult it was for you to give birth to him. So, Ling, listen to me now. After saying that, Lin Yu took the child and placed the hot food in front of Jean Ling to let her eat. Husband, why don't Why don't you let me see the child again? I still want to see him. Chapter 172. If you continue to be like this, I'll be angry. Just do as I said. Eat first. It's not like you can't see the child after that. When the child is out of confinement, we'll take him back to see your grandfather and let your grandfather know that you're now a mother. Besides, you haven't been back in the past year. I miss Grandpa too. Hearing Lin Yu's words, Jean Ling's eyes showed a sad look. This scene made Lin Yu couldn't help but walk to Jean Ling's side, hug her, and comfort her. It's okay, it's okay. When you're out of confinement, we'll go. If you want, you can live there in the future. Besides, this place is quite close to Shui Can village. And I'll listen to my husband. Whatever you say. As she spoke, Jean Ling picked up the rice that Lin Yu brought over and began to eat. Although she had not eaten for a day, when she was eating, she was still so slow and graceful. Time was a law that couldn't be grasped or touched. Days passed. Soon, it had been more than 100 days since Jean Ling gave birth. Jean En could also call his father and mother. This made Lin Yu and Jean Ling happy. Especially Lin Yu, who now had to cook for Jean Ling and play with Jean En every day. Her life was full every day. When she had nothing to do, she would go out to hunt. When she hunted, she would hunt nearly 100 pounds of meat and wild fruits. Jean Ling and Jean En were full every day. As for Jean Ling, she originally thought that after she gave birth, she could cook for her husband and child. She didn't expect that things were completely different from what she imagined. After giving birth, Lin Yu became even worse. When she had a child, although she could only sit on the bed, she could still do some work. Now, Lin Yu didn't let her have a good time. She would even cook different dishes for her every meal. In this year, Lin Yu's cooking skills were completely developed. Every day, there would be meat in the pot. This made Jean Ling almost want to escape from Lin Yu's clutches after giving birth, but in the end, they could only compromise. Husband, are you done yet? Aren't we just going to visit Grandpa? Is there a need to dress up like that? At this time, Jean En had been 100 days old. Originally, they had agreed to visit him after the confinement, but later, Jean Ling was afraid that Jean En would catch a cold, so she delayed it until today. Jean Ling, who was originally anxious in her heart, sent this message, but Lin Yu specially ran to the room to wear a new set of clothes that she had never worn before. This made Jean Ling completely helpless. Time passed bit by bit, but Lin Yu still hadn't come out. Now, Jean Ling and Jean En, who were waiting outside the door, immediately shouted into the room. Mother! What is father doing inside? Didn't you say you were going to visit a relative? At this moment, Jean En, who was in Jean Ling's arms, hurriedly asked his mother, Jean Ling, when he saw how troubled his father was. Humph. It's your father. He's usually not such a wishy-washy person. But now that he's going to see Grandpa, he's so slow. Really? Aya, isn't it better now? In the past, that was because I wasn't your husband yet. Now, it's different. He's also my grandfather, and it's the first time we're meeting after I married you. Tell me, can I not be more formal? While Jean Ling was complaining, Lin Yu walked out of the room. She was wearing clothes made of bear fur, and she was holding the dried meat from her family. Seeing this, Jean Ling's heart warmed, and tears welled up in her eyes. Aya, we're already an old married couple. Don't be so pretentious, right? Aren't you anxious? As she spoke, Lin Yu went forward and grabbed Jean En, then quickly walked towards Shui Can village. At this moment, Jean Ling's heart was very emotional. Since she left at least a year ago, she hadn't returned until now. The feelings of homesickness in her heart completely exploded at this moment. After all, Shui Can village was her home for more than 10 years. The two of them chatted on the road as they walked. Soon, they arrived at the entrance of Shui Can village. Hoo-hoo, what's wrong? We're already at the entrance. Why did you stop now? Lin Yu, who had arrived at the entrance of the village, suddenly stopped in her tracks. She was very nervous. Although she had met the so-called old Master Jean before, she didn't go with this identity at that time. When Jean Ling, who was in front, saw her husband stop in his tracks, she turned her head and asked with a smile. Ahem. Ahem. It's nothing. Let's go. After calming himself down, he carried Jean En and followed Jean Ling back to the home that Jean Ling had lived in for more than 10 years. At the same time, it was also the place where he recuperated. Jiya. The door was gently pushed open by Jean Ling. She walked in excitedly, but what she saw was a scene that Jean Ling didn't want to see in her life. After Jean Ling entered, what she saw was not the scene of an old man sunbathing in the courtyard. This place was like a house that no one had lived in before. In this place, other than weeds, there was endless dust. There was no sign of life at all. No. Ha. Ha. No. No, this is definitely not my home. I must have remembered wrongly. Seeing this, Jean Ling couldn't bear the blow in her heart. She found all kinds of reasons that she didn't believe to numb herself. As she spoke, Jean Ling walked out and then came back in. The final result was the same. How? How could it be? Where did grandfather go? Where did grandfather go? At this moment, Jean Ling held her head sadly and collapsed on the ground in pain. Her body couldn't help but tremble. This made Lin Yu, who was beside her, feel very distressed. Father, what happened to mother? At this moment, Jean En, who was in Lin Yu's arms, turned his head and asked Lin Yu after seeing his mother's appearance. No. Nothing. It's just that a relative left your mother and also left RN. As she spoke, Lin Yu put Jean En on the ground and then came to Jean Ling, who was hugging her head and crying bitterly. She held her in her arms and said in a heavy tone. Ling, restrain your grief. Everyone will die one day. If grandfather can't escape, neither can you and I. When the time comes, even a strong and healthy person like me might lose my life if I'm not careful. I'm one of the biggest obstacles in life. At this moment, Lin Ray didn't know how to show concern for his wife, so he could only tell her his opinion. Although he knew that it wouldn't work, at least he tried his best. Boo-hoo. Hubby, I thought that grandfather would live a long life. But now, everything is gone. Everything is gone. Woo-woo-woo-woo, Jean Ling cried for a long time. In the end, there were no more tears. She didn't even make a sound. Not sure if she was tired from crying or if she had thought it through. Jean Ling? Just as the two of them were sad, a voice sounded from outside the door. Both of them lifted their heads and looked at the door at the same time. It's really you, Jean Ling. Why are you only back now? Your grandfather has been waiting for you to come back for the past year. But after knowing that you might not be able to come back, he left you a letter and left. I don't know where he went exactly. At this moment, a young man walked in. After Lin Yu saw him, he recognized the young man at a glance. He was the one who leaned on the wall and threatened him. What? My grandfather left? Where did he go? At this moment, Jean Ling, who was sitting on the ground, felt a lot better after hearing that her grandfather might not be dead. But when she thought about how her grandfather didn't know anyone on this island except for her, who was his family, where could he have gone? By the way, little Meng, you said that my grandfather left me a letter? Where is it? Give it to me quickly. Oh, wait here. I'll go back and get it for you. Upon hearing Jean Ling's words, the young man called little Meng hurried to buy noodles. After a while, he returned with a letter in his hand. Here, this is what old Master Jean gave you. We didn't dare to look at it. Well, thank you. Seeing the letter handed over, Jean Ling thanked him and took it in her hand to read it. In the future, live a good life with Lin Yu. I went to see you, he treats you very well, I'm very relieved. Also, Lin Yu's background must be very strong, so he might have other wives in the future. At that time, don't lose a man who treats you so well because of jealousy. I have high hopes for him. I have high hopes for him. She finished reading the letter quickly. Except for the words of not being jealous, the rest were words of concern for her family. Alas. Forget it. Since Grandpa doesn't want me to look for him, then I'll follow his words. Well, since there's nothing here for you to worry about, let's go. After that, there's nothing to see here. At this moment, Lin Yu came to Jean Ling's side. After picking up Jean En, he said to Jean Ling and walked outside. Well, you're right. Just like that, the three of them returned to the mountains and never returned to Shuaikan village again. 4 years passed. In these 4 years, Jean Ling taught Jean En all the things that old Master Jean taught her. Similarly, Lin Yu also taught Jean En his ability to kill wild beasts in the forest and let him exercise every day. According to the current Jean En, he could already kill a wolf. Lin Yu had matured a lot and had grown taller. Jean Ling hadn't changed much either. Lin Yu helped her pick wild fruits in the forest every day. In the past few years, Jean Ling hadn't changed at all. Other than her body becoming more plump, she still looked the same. The one who had changed the most was Jean En. Jean En was now 5 years old. He had delicate features and a pair of lively eyes. He looked very smart and elegant. This made Lin Yu very proud. As for the matter of amnesia, Lin Yu almost forgot that he was a person with amnesia. He didn't write about his wife and son every day. He didn't think about anything else. Chapter 173. Father, I'm going fishing by the seaside. Where are you going? Just as Lin Yu was sitting on a rock and reminiscing about the past 5 years, Jean En walked up and asked Lin Yu, what's the matter? Seaside? Hearing her son's words, Lin Yu's brows furrowed, then relaxed. She smiled, her eyes filled with doting as she said to him, go ahead. I won't be going. Oh. Okay, I'll go then. After hearing his father agree to his request, he turned around with a smile and skipped towards the direction of the sea. However, he was stopped by Lin Yu at the last moment. Remember to protect yourself. Do you still remember what I taught you about how to avoid the pursuit of wild beasts? Remember, if you encounter any danger, run away quickly. Also, remember to come back for dinner when it's time. Otherwise, you know how powerful your mother is. I don't have the right to speak at home. If you don't come back, I will. Husband, what are you talking about? The child is still so young. Don't teach him such bad things. Okay. Since you want to go to the seaside, I'll go with you. For what I said just now, let your father cook a meal and send it to the seaside for both of us as punishment, okay? The sudden voice made Lin Yu feel as if he had caught the adulterer in the act. When he heard Jean Ling's words, Lin Yu could only smile. Okay. It's my honor to be able to serve both of you. But you must be careful at the seaside. It's not safe for the next 2 days. If there's anything, remember to run away quickly. Don't rush up stupidly, okay? Okay, I know, husband, father. Looking at Lin Yu's worried look, Jean Ling felt warm in her heart. In her heart, Lin Yu had always been like this and had never changed. Okay, both of you go. I'll get something new for both of you. It's been so many years. I can't let both of you eat the same beast meat. After saying that, Lin Yu took the basket and walked into the depths of the forest. Jean Ling and Jean En looked at each other and smiled. Then, they turned around and walked towards the seaside. Over the years, there had been a group of black-robed men on the edge of the Sea of Innocence. They seemed to be searching for something. At first, there were only a dozen of them, but now, there were 50 or 60 of them. Not only that, there were only 50 or so people left in the group, which originally had more than 100 people. Swimming in the sea of innocence was no laughing matter. Every time they reached an island, there would be one less person among them. In the past 6 years, they had almost gotten used to this kind of thing. At this moment, the group of black-clothed men wandering the sea of innocence looked at the island in front of them in despair. Their hearts were filled with despair. One of the black-clothed men said to everyone in grief and indignation, "Brothers, we still have to continue searching. It's already been 6 years. If the sect leader is still alive, wouldn't he have returned long ago? From the edge of the sea of innocence until now, we had more than 100 brothers and sisters. Look! Look at how many of us are left." At this moment, the black-clothed man roared at everyone present with an agitated expression. His eyes were bloodshot and his face was incomparably ferocious. "Humph, shut up. I believe that the sect leader isn't dead. Have you all forgotten that we are all indebted to the sect leader? Otherwise, who do you think you are right now? Perhaps you would have died long ago. So, no matter what, even if everyone here dies, even if all of us die, we can't give up the search. Besides, there's only one island left in the sea of innocence. If we still can't find it, sigh. Leader, although you're right, do you think that the sect leader would be in the depths of the sea of innocence if there aren't any of the hundreds of islands before us? Besides, you said that the sect leader might be seriously injured. Maybe. At this point, everyone fell silent. They all knew that for the past few years, only their leader, the leader of the Dark Tribe, had persisted. They were only obeying their leader's orders. Alright, stop complaining. The situation in the Tianxian continent is very tense. After the sect leader disappeared and the Xuanzong sect reappeared, there have been many problems. Our Xuanzong sect is no longer what it used to be. 6 years ago, there were only a few thousand cultivators at the combination realm and above. Now, the Xuanzong sect is the #1 sect in the Tianxian continent. Hearing the leader of the Dark Tribe's words, everyone's eyes shone with pride. They were all proud to have such a sect. Although they were far away in the sea, they still had contact with the sects on the continent. But there are still some problems. For example, the Red Lotus Empress. Although she is in the Earth Immortal realm, she was still defeated by the sect leader. If we had known that she would be a problem for the sect, we would have killed her even if the sect leader didn't want to. Unfortunately, it's too late now. Only the Black Dragon Protector is a match for her. As for the others, sigh. Alright, let's not talk about it anymore. Let's hurry up and search the last island. Then we'll head back to the sect. Although it was a little difficult to enter the Sea of Innocence, everyone here has reached the Mahayana realm. Those small fries are no longer our match. Ha ha ha. Alright, we'll listen to the leader. After searching the last island, we'll follow the leader back to the sect. When the time comes, we'll show off our skills. After everyone heard the leader's words, a smile appeared on their faces. They were no longer as lifeless as before. Seeing this scene, the leader of the dark group also smiled. The Xuanzong sect mentioned by the leader of the Dark Tribe had been developing rapidly in the past few years. Originally, there were only a few thousand cultivators at the combination realm and above. But now, they had continuously expanded and appeared on the continent. Everyone was surprised that such a powerful sect had never appeared in the Tianxian continent. In their minds, the Xuanzong sect had long surpassed the entire Tianxian continent. It had even won over all the cultivators in the Tianxian continent. Moreover, it was the sect leader of the Xuanzong sect. Everyone was curious about who this mysterious sect leader was. Who on earth could be the owner of such a powerful sect? In the past few years, apart from the frequent attacks from the Tianxian continent, no one had dared to do anything to the disciples of the Xuanzong sect. Of course, apart from Red Lotus had also captured many disciples of the Xuanzong sect and tortured them. She had even used the soul-searching technique on them, but to no avail. When Red Lotus was about to use the soul-searching technique on them, Red Lotus had already sealed everything related to the Xuanzong sect. Of course, in the end, when the Xuanzong sect launched an attack, Red Lotus would release the captured Xuanzong sect disciples. As for the disciples of the Xuanzong sect, the sect leader whom the entire Xuanzong sect had been searching for 5 or 6 years, at this moment, he was on an island in the deepest part of the Sea of Innocence, cooking for his wife and child with a happy smile on his face. He did not know that the disciples of the sect had either died or been injured in order to find him, the sect leader who had been missing for 5 or 6 years. Ha ha ha, it's finally done. I believe this thing should be able to let Ling and try something new. As he spoke, Lin Yu found a wooden basin, filled it with food, and headed to the seaside to deliver it to Jean Ling, who was fishing. Along the way, Lin Yu thought of Jean Ling's happy expression as she ate and Jean En's worshipful gaze, but he did not expect that Jean Ling had already been hurt. Don't look back. I believe your father is already on his way. Tell him that I love him very much. Remember, don't come out. Wait for me to lure that monster away before you go out, okay? After Jean Ling finished speaking, she did not wait for Jean En to speak. She directly rushed out and rushed towards the forest on the other side. After that, a fish-type demonic beast came to land and transformed into a human form. It chased after Jean Ling with a perverted look. Seeing this scene, Jean En followed his mother's instructions. After luring the monster away, he turned around and ran in the direction of his home. At this moment, he was running very fast. He believed that Lin Yu would be surprised if she saw this. A 5-year-old child's running speed was almost faster than an adult. Not long after, Jean En saw Lin Yu walking towards him with a smile on her face. Jean En immediately ran up and stopped Lin Yu. Jean En? Why are you here? Where's your mother? I've already finished cooking. Father, mother, she encountered a monster and lured her away, allowing me to rush out. Sometimes, mother would tell me to tell you not to go over. You won't be able to defeat that monster. Mother also said that she loves you very much. Whether it's in this life or the next life, she will continue to love you. Boom. After hearing her son's words, Lin Yu's mind went blank. She never thought that she would encounter such a situation. Father? Father, you. What happened to you? At this moment, Jean En, who was standing in front of Lin Yu, saw his father's appearance and was very scared. Because at this moment, Lin Yu's face had revealed a sinister look. His eyes were red as he looked into the distance. Tell me, which direction did your mother go? A voice that seemed to come from the netherworld came out from Lin Yu's mouth. The surrounding temperature also dropped because of his words. Father, mother said not to. Hearing Lin Yu's words, Jean En revealed a difficult expression. Hurry up and tell me. Your mother. Which direction did she go? This time, Lin Yu didn't speak to Jean En in a gentle tone like before. Instead, Lin Yu was like a wild beast that had gone berserk as he roared at his own son without any regard for his own family. Chapter 174. Looking at his father, Jean En was shocked by his father's roar. Tears flowed uncontrollably from his eyes. Mother. Mother is running in that direction. When Jean En pointed in that direction, he felt a gust of wind blowing from the side. In an instant, he saw a black shadow flash by and disappear in front of him. When Jean En came back to his senses, Lin Yu was already gone. Seeing this, Jean En's mouth opened wide. His eyes were filled with admiration as he looked at the place where his father disappeared. However, he did not chase after him. Instead, he followed Jean Ling's instructions and walked towards his home. At this moment, in the forest, a figure was moving up and down. His speed was off the charts. It was as if he was not in the forest, but running in a place with no obstacles. You. Nothing must happen to you. I said that I would protect you for the rest of my life. Nothing must happen to you. This person was none other than Linley, who was almost angered to death by his son's weakness. He was also driven mad by Jean Ling's words. When he heard that his wife had let his son escape alone in order to lure away the monster, Lin Yu exploded. At this moment, there was only one thought in Lin Yu's mind. It did not matter if the other party was a human, a monster, or a beast. As long as they touched Jean Ling's wife, he would disregard his own life and fight to the death with them. No matter what the outcome was, even if he died, it did not matter. As long as it could give Jean Ling a chance to live, Lin Yu would do it. At this moment, in another direction, after Jean Ling lured the monster away, she kept running forward. When she reached the edge of a cliff, Jean Ling stopped. At this moment, Jean Ling was already prepared to die. Turning around and looking in the direction of her home, Jean Ling's eyes flashed with tenderness. She muttered to herself, "Husband, Ling, can't accompany you in this life. In the next life, I still want to be your wife. Jean and will be taken care of by you." After saying that, the tenderness in her eyes disappeared and was replaced by determination and despair. She turned around and jumped off the cliff in front of her. In the air, Jean Ling was still thinking about Lin Yu. Jean Ling, who originally thought that she was going to die, was stopped in midair by an extraordinary force. She looked up and saw that the man who had been chasing her had appeared at the edge of the cliff. He was looking at her with a lewd smile, which made Jean Ling feel disgusted. "Humph, you want to die? Do you think that's possible? How can I let a human woman die so easily? Get up here." The moment the man finished speaking, the golden bell that was suspended in midair slowly rose upwards. Finally, the golden bell returned to the edge of the world. Although you're not that good looking, at the very least, you're much better than the fishes and shrimps in the water. Although you're not a virgin, you're still a beauty. Give up. I won't let you have your way. Even if I die, although I don't know who you are, I know that even if I want to die, you won't be able to stop me. The man standing in front of her smiled disdainfully after hearing Jean Ling's words. Then you might not know that as a Mahayana realm cultivator, not to mention controlling you, I can even solve a matter of life and death. Do you think you can die? Don't come over. After hearing the man's words, Jean Ling didn't believe him at first. However, after seeing the man's disdainful expression, she completely believed him. She began to believe that the man had this ability. Pa! A loud slap came from Jean Ling's face. Jean Ling's face was red and swollen, and blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. You refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Let me tell you, there are many women who want to be with me, but there aren't many who can catch my eye. However, you're one of them, so, seeing this scene, Jean Ling knew that she couldn't escape today. However, Jean Ling, who was prepared to die, had no use now. Well, it seems that your lover isn't obedient. Just as the man was about to make a move, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. Seeing this, the man knew that this figure must be the lover of the woman under him. What? Husband? Hearing the man's words, Jean Ling was dumbfounded. She remembered telling Jean N not to come. At this moment, Jean Ling was nervous and excited. After seeing the man's means, Jean Ling knew that her husband was no match for the man in front of her. He couldn't even block one move from the man. No. You can't kill him. I beg you, please don't hurt him. As long as you don't hurt him, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll listen to you. Saying this, the tears in Jean Ling's eyes flowed out at this moment. Her eyes were staring forward. She was afraid that Lin Yu would appear, but at the same time, she didn't want Lin Yu to appear. Oh, no. No. Isn't it more fun now? Don't you want to see how your lover will feel when I humiliate you in front of him? Ha. At this moment, the man was full of excitement. Then, He stood up from Jin Ling's body and went to the side to wait for Lin Yu to appear. How? How could this be? How could this be? At this moment, after hearing the man's words, Jin Ling's eyes were filled with despair. She didn't expect the man to have such a plan. Sure enough, after a while, the figure that Jin Ling didn't want to appear appeared. At this moment, Lin Yu hurried over. When she saw the man lying on the ground with a red palm print on his face, a trace of madness flashed in her eyes. She rushed towards the man and roared. How? How can you treat her like this? When she married me, I swore that if anyone dared to lay a finger on her, I would let him die without a burial ground. Now, you treat her like this. You can't be forgiven. Go to hell. Seeing Lin Yu rushing over, the man stood up slowly and said to Lin Yu, Is that so? But not only do I want to do this, I want you to watch me and your wife enter the bridal chamber. As he spoke, the man raised his hand and a ray of spiritual energy rushed out and shot towards Lin Yu. Bang! The spiritual energy collided with Lin Yu. In an instant, Lin Yu was sent flying by the spiritual energy. Oh, with such little strength, you dare to clamor with me? Today, I will let you know what it means to be a strong person. Seeing that Lin Yu was in such a sorry state, the man stepped forward and kicked Lin Yu's body. How could Lin Yu withstand the torture of a Mahayana realm cultivator? After a while, Lin Yu's body became a bloody mess and blood flowed out continuously. No, don't hit him anymore. Don't hit him anymore. I will do anything you want me to do as long as you let him go. I beg you. Seeing this scene, Jin Ling's heart was filled with pain. She begged the man for mercy and slowly began to take off her clothes. Ha ha ha, good. As long as you submit to me today, I will let you, a former man, live for a few more days. Seeing this scene, the man was overjoyed. This was the result he wanted. However, the one who suffered the most was Lin Yu, who was lying on the ground and being beaten to a bloody mess by the man and whose life was hanging by a thread. No, don't. Don't. Even if I die, I will not let him touch you. Do you want my death to be worthless? Don't. Instantly, Lin Yu, who was lying on the ground, saw that his wife was willing to be humiliated by this man for him. Seeing this scene, Lin Rei went completely crazy and roared at Jin Ling, but you will die. I don't want you to die. I want you. I am really fine. As long as you are alive, I will be satisfied. At this moment, Jin Ling, who was taking off her clothes, heard Lin Yu's words and stopped what she was doing. Ha. Ha. It doesn't matter anymore. As long as you don't wrong yourself, I am willing to die. Ha ha ha. Fine, fine. Since you have chosen death, I shall fulfill your wish. Looking at the two of them, the woman was completely infuriated. She raised her hand and punched Lin Yu's head. She wanted to destroy Lin Yu's body. Don't. Ah. Seeing this scene, Jin Ling, who was lying on the ground, turned pale instantly. Her body trembled in fear and she screamed at the man. Bam! Gotcha! The man's fist landed on Lin Yu's head, but he didn't see the situation he wanted. Instead, he heard an unknown cracking sound. Boom! At this moment, a terrifying aura emanated from Lin Yu's body. In an instant, the man was suppressed to the ground. What? How is this possible? How is this possible? How can he have such a powerful aura? Isn't he an ordinary person? At this moment, the man who was suppressed to the ground by Lin Yu's aura had a trace of disbelief in his eyes. After the initial shock, he couldn't stop muttering the word unbelievable. On the other hand, Jin Ling, who was beside him, was even more astonished. She had seen the man's abilities, but this was the first time she saw her husband in such a situation. Husband, are you all right? At this moment, Jin Ling stood up with difficulty and went to Lin Yu's side and called out softly. But after a long time, Lin Rei didn't make any sound. He was still alive and still lying on the ground. She didn't know if he was dead or alive. But the next scene shocked Jean Ling. She saw that the flesh and blood that was kicked by the man was slowly recovering. Looking at this scene, Jean Ling's mouth was wide open and her eyes were filled with astonishment. However, after the dark group arrived on this island and felt the aura, they became excited. The leader of the dark group shouted excitedly. Yes, yes, this is the sect leader's aura. This is the sect leader's aura. Finally, we found him. Chapter 175. After the excitement, the leader of the dark tribe said to his men behind him, "All of you, follow me to the place where the pressure is emitted. Our Xuanzong sect's leader has been found." Ha ha ha, finally. Quick, leader, let's go quickly. With that, the members of the dark tribe flew towards the place where the pressure was emitted. Along the way, everyone was very confused. Why was the leader in this place and not in the sect? However, they didn't know that it wasn't that Lin Rei didn't want to go back, but that all his memories and strength were sealed by his companion's final sealing technique. Even his physical strength was sealed. At this time, Lin Rei, after being hit by the man, accidentally broke that layer of seal. Lin Rei then remembered everything, but Lin Rei still can't wake up at this time. Hee, host, how have you been these past few years? At this time, Lin Rei had been summoned into the system space by the little dragon. When he heard the little dragon's voice, Lin Rei quickly straightened his body and saw the little dragon sitting in the air, looking at him with a smile. What's going on? I know I've been sealed, but how could his facade have the ability to seal the system? That's impossible. At this time, Lin Rei turned around and asked the little dragon in the air, puzzled. His tone was full of disbelief. Hee, it's nothing. You also know that the system has now merged with you. Since your memories and strength have been sealed, as a part of your body, of course, it is no exception. Of course, after a few years, although the system woke up, it didn't disturb you when it felt that you were comprehending the Tao of life. If that idiot hadn't accidentally opened your seal this time, you would have continued to live like this until you completely comprehended it. Damn, what do you mean, do you know? I almost died, and Linger was almost humiliated. In short, I don't want something like this to happen again. At this moment, Lin Rei knew that he had been tricked by the system. For a moment, he felt very unhappy. Alright, let's not talk about it anymore. Oh right, how did you wake up? I remember the system told me to cultivate as much as possible within 5 years and then wake you up. However, during these 5 years, I didn't cultivate at all. How did you? Yes, you're right. It was like that at first, but due to various reasons, I recovered. After I woke up, I saw the life you were living and saw your happy smile. I didn't want to disturb your peace because I know that such a life is a luxury for someone like you who has a system. Upon hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Rei gave him a look of gratitude. Instantly, the little dragon shuddered and said to Lin Rei with a look of disgust. Don't, please don't, I'm disgusted. Ha ha ha, the two of them laughed happily, and there was a kind of sympathy in their eyes. Alright, hurry up and get out. After everything is settled, go back to your original home. I guess everyone in the Tianxian continent is now your Xuanzong sect's people. Heh, alright, I'm going out. Come out more often in the future. Lin Rei smiled and understood the meaning of the little dragon's words. He had been missing for 6 years, and the sect had probably sent out all their forces to find him. Thinking of this, Lin Rei became anxious. Lin Rei came out of the space and returned to reality. He opened his eyes and felt the pain on his body. He thought that it was caused by the man just now. Ah. Husband, you're awake. Jean Ling, who had been waiting by the side, saw that Lin Yu had woken up and asked. Yes, I'm awake. This time, I will make those who bullied you, including his entire family, die with you. Also, I've recovered my memory. I'm not Lin Rei, I'm Lin Rei. Hearing Lin Rei's words, Jean Ling showed an excited expression. Although Lin Rei could see that when Jean Ling heard that he had recovered his memory, there was a trace of strangeness, but it quickly dissipated. Yes, I know. No matter what you become, you will always be my husband, and father. Yes, I will always be your husband, and father. When Lin Rei said "n," he paused for a moment, and a trace of unhappiness flashed across his face. Alright, let's not talk about this first. Next, I will destroy the person just now, and his entire family as the price for your slap. Seeing that Jean Ling was about to say something, Lin Rei quickly changed the topic. He put his arm around Jean Ling's slender waist and strolled to the side of the man lying on the ground. It's your Kuan fish clan again. Why is it that every time something bad happens to me, it's your Kuan fish clan? At this time, after Lin Rei checked the man's body, he found out that this man was the same as the previous Kuan fish with the Earth Immortal scripture. Seeing this, Lin Rei was completely enraged. It could be said that both new and old grudges had been accumulated. Well, you've seen our clan before? Then you should know that our Kuan fish clan has the protection of an Earth Immortal Realm Patriarch. Aren't you afraid of getting into trouble? As long as you promise to let me go, I promise to let bygones be bygones. After hearing that Lin Rei knew that he was from the Kuan fish clan, the man thought that Lin Rei was afraid of them, so he resumed his previous pretentious attitude. Ha ha, the patriarch of your Kuan fish clan, the companion of the primordial fruit? I'm afraid you don't know. In fact, 6 years ago, I've already killed the patriarch you're talking about. What? No. Impossible, the patriarch of my Kuan fish clan is an Earth Immortal Realm Patriarch. Impossible, you're lying to me. At this time, the man shouted at Lin Rei like a madman, his tone was full of disbelief. Humph, just wait and see. Your Kuan fish clan will be punished. Whether it's your patriarch sealing me 6 years ago or you humiliating my woman now, I'll make your clan pay the price. After saying that, Lin Rei did not give the man a chance to speak. With a slap, the man's body and soul were directly smashed into pieces, leaving nothing behind. Ah! At the side, Jean Ling, who saw this scene, was shocked by Lin Rei's actions and her face turned pale. It's okay, as long as you like this kind of thing. You'll see it often in the future, so you have to get used to it. After all, you're going to be the woman of a sect master in the future. After saying that, Lin Rei's hand touched the swollen area where the man had slapped and gently stroked it. After a while, Lin Rei's spiritual power healed it, leaving no scar at all. Okay, let's go. We're still at home. After saying that, Lin Rei took Jean Ling's hand and was about to go home. However, a group of people descended from the sky and directly knelt on the ground. They said respectfully to Lin Rei, "Lin Rei. The 56 members of the dark group pay our respects to the sect master." Seeing this scene, Lin Rei was not surprised because he had already felt their aura when he woke up. However, at this time, Jean Ling was once again stunned by Lin Rei's actions. She had never thought that her man would be so powerful. When Lin Rei lost his memory, he had always been influenced by a gentleman. All of you rise. You've all worked hard these years. When we reach profound heaven, I will reward you according to your merits. As for those who died in the Sea of Innocence, when we return to the sect, we will also reward you according to your merits. Yes, we will obey the sect master's orders. After hearing Lin Rei's words, the 56 members of the dark group all stood up, but each of them had a tired smile on their faces. You're awake. Find a place to rest first. I guess you haven't paid much attention to it all these years. Here, these things may be of some benefit to you. Seeing that everyone was tired, Lin Rei directly threw some of the pills that he had refined before to them. Then, he turned and took Jean Ling's hand and walked into the distance. Alright, since the sect master has found us, then according to the sect master's orders, all of you find a place to rest. Eat the pills that the sect master has distributed and wait for the sect master's next order. After all, our mission has been completed. After the leader of the dark tribe finished speaking, they distributed the pills and left to find a place to have a good night's sleep. Meanwhile, after Lin Rei took Jean Ling away, he found a place where no one was around and carried her on his back. Ah. Husband, don't do this. I'm not pregnant right now. This sudden action startled Jean Ling, who had been in a state of shock all this time. It's all right. We've been husband and wife for so long. Do you still care about these things? Besides, there's still a long way to go. As he spoke, he ignored Jean Ling's resistance and carried her on his back. After they found out where they were staying, Lin Rei put Jean Ling down. Husband, are we leaving this island? Yes. You saw it too. So many people are looking for me. If I don't go back, there will probably be chaos over there. But don't worry, no matter when, I will always be the Lin Yu who has lived with you for 6 years. I got it. Hearing Lin Rei's words, Jean Ling didn't say anything more. After all, too many things had happened today, so much that it was beyond her imagination. It had overturned her worldview. Jia. At this time, Jean En seemed to have heard their conversation and knew that they were back. He opened the door and walked out. Mother, you're back. When he saw Jean Ling, Jean En immediately threw himself into Jean Ling's arms. However, there was a flash of fear in his eyes. After glancing at Lin Rei, he didn't look at him again. He's awake. Just give him a hug. He's already so old. It's time for him to be independent. As he spoke, Lin Rei took Jean En down from Jean Ling's arms and put him on the ground. Remember, you're my son, Lin Rei. No matter what happens in the future, even if you don't have any strength, don't leave your family behind. Mother or wife, when you encounter danger, you must stand in front of them and not let them lead the danger away. This is the first thing I'm going to tell you, and it's also a very important thing. Chapter 176. Jean En burrowed into Jean Ling's arms in shame when he heard his father's words. Tears flowed uncontrollably from his eyes. Husband, don't be like this. He's only a child. How could he know so much? Besides, as a mother, how could I bear to let my son do such a dangerous thing? Jean Ling couldn't help but say to Lin Rei when she saw him fiercely scolding his child. Ling, aren't I educating him? Besides, I don't want my child to be a coward. If that's the case, I'd rather kill him than see him using my name to flaunt his power outside. When Lin Rei hadn't recovered his memories and was still Lin Yu, he really did want to kill his son when he heard that his son had stopped him from going to Jean Ling. However, his murderous intent was restrained at the time. I don't care. No matter how wrong my son is, I don't want you to touch him. This is your bottom line as a father. Lin Rei smiled helplessly at the protective Jean Ling. Then, he went to the kitchen and started cooking. Lin Rei had gotten used to this kind of life over the past few years. You guys go in and rest for a while. Too many things have happened today. When everything is settled, let's get ready to leave. After saying that, Lin Rei turned his head again and busied himself with the beast meat in his hand. When Jean Ling heard Lin Rei's words, she didn't say anything and brought Jean En back to the room alone. Lin Rei, who originally thought that everything had returned to normal, didn't know that at this time, in the depths of the Sea of Innocence, a group of fish that looked like the body of the man who had just died appeared. How could this be? My son, how could my son die? How did you protect the young master? At this moment, a nearly 100 zhang tall fish appeared and spoke to the smaller fish. Its voice was filled with sorrow and tears flowed out of its eyes. Seeing this scene, the two fish were stunned. No, it's not like that. Clan leader. Clan leader, please listen to me. It was young master who told us to go out for a walk. He didn't want us to follow him. He even said that if we followed him, he would kill the two of us and our families. So, speaking until here, the two fishes' body began to tremble in the deep sea. Just when they were explaining, the fish that they called the patriarch was looking at them with murderous eyes. It could not wait to kill them immediately. Ugh! Ugh! A strange cry was emitted from the mouth of the 1,000-foot-long Kuan fish. In an instant, the entire deep sea was stirred up by this angry roar. Those with insufficient cultivation were finally crushed by this huge wave in an instant. Humph, no matter who it is, since they dared to touch this sovereign son, even if they possess heaven-defying abilities, they will still have to face this sovereign's fury. In an instant, the fish turned its head and swam rapidly into the deep sea, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Huff! Huff! In an instant, after the 1,000-foot-long Kuan fish left, the two fish who remained in the same place breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, the fear in their eyes had yet to dissipate. Scared. Scared me to death. Scared me to death, yes. Yes. Who killed the young master? He really doesn't want to live anymore. How dare he attack in the sea of innocence? It seems that this person doesn't want to live anymore. At this time, after the 1,000-foot-long Kuan fish left, the two fish heaved a sigh of relief and began to discuss the man's death. Sigh. Forget it. Since he's dead, let's go back first. There's no one to protect anyway. Yes, I agree. After the discussion, they instantly turned and walked in the other direction. Their speed was also incomparably fast, although it was still not as fast as the previous one. Time passed just like that. Ever since Lin Rei recovered his memories, he had stayed in the past for 3 days. After that, he no longer had the mood to go back. The way home was in his hands. At this time, what he wanted to do most was to hurry back to the Tianxian continent and settle everything. Then, he would take his 9 Heavens Xuanzong sect and leave this place where he had lived for more than 10 years to return to his true home. The dark unit that Lin Rei had dismissed gathered again in the evening of the second day. The leader of the dark unit passed the news of finding Lin Rei to the people of the Xuanzong sect, who were far away in the Tianxian continent. When the people of the Xuanzong sect received the news from the leader of the dark unit, they finally felt relieved. Finally, Black Dragon ordered all the disciples of the Xuanzong sect to gather at the edge of the Sea of Innocence and wait for the return of the sect master of the Xuanzong sect, Lin Rei. Of course, Bing, He, Lin Tian, Wan Yu, and the others were also among them. Dong Xiaonan was also among them. The 9 Heavens Trading Company now had many branches in the Tianxian continent. During the first year of Lin Rei's disappearance, the owner of the company had joined the search party for Lin Rei. The morning of the 3rd day. Where is the dark unit? At this time, Lin Rei had already changed back into his immortal equipment. He looked much more handsome than before, much more comfortable than when he had been wearing the animal clothing. As for Jean Ling, Lin Rei had even dressed her up with great care. As the saying goes, clothes make the man. Sure enough, after Lin Rei put on the treasure-level robe on Jean Ling, he also found some accessories. Jean Ling, who was neatly dressed, instantly looked many times more beautiful. As for Jean En, Lin Rei had no intention of changing his clothes. According to Lin Rei's plan, when they returned, Lin Rei would send him to the dark unit to train until he succeeded in his cultivation. After returning to the 21st century, he would receive 9 years of service. Only then would he be able to bear everything that Lin Rei had given him. After hearing Lin Rei's arrangement, Jean Ling originally didn't want to agree. However, Lin Rei said some things that might happen in the future. In the end, Jean Ling nodded and agreed. Although she was very reluctant, she had no choice. The leader of the dark unit, Black Shadow, pays his respects to the sect leader. Does the sect leader have any orders? At this time, the leader of the dark unit, who had been waiting not far away, appeared in front of Lin Rei at the first moment after hearing Lin Rei's call. He knelt on the ground and accepted Lin Rei's orders. Well, go to the Sea of Innocence and invite all the members of the Kunyu clan here. No matter what method you use, I want to thank them properly. Because of their sealing technique, I lost my memory, but because of it, I was able to meet and have a wife. Yes, we will arrange it right away. With that, the shadow turned and flew into the distance. However, after hearing Lin Rei's words just now, he was very surprised, especially after hearing the news of his memory loss. Only then did he understand why he hadn't contacted the sect for the past few years. Indifferent. Lin Rei didn't know what the shadow was thinking at this time. At this time, the only thing in Lin Rei's mind was to capture all the members of the Kunyu clan who had harmed Jinling and then exterminate them. Husband. Why don't we forget about it? Anyway, I don't have anything important to do. Let's leave. At this time, Jinling, who had been standing next to Lin Rei, calmly understood what Lin Rei was talking about. Jinling didn't want her husband to kill because of her, so she hurriedly persuaded him. Well, you don't have to worry about this matter. I will take care of it. This time, I will let all the creatures in the Sea of Innocence and the people of the Tianxian continent know that my, Lin Rei's, woman is not someone they can touch, let alone hit, not even a finger. With that, Lin Rei flew into the sky, leaving Jinling behind. After hearing her husband's words, a happy smile appeared on her face, and she turned and walked into the room. The dark tribe sent out by Lin Rei followed Lin Rei's orders and came to the sky above the Sea of Innocence. All of them had the appropriate cultivation of the Great Ascension stage, and then attacked the sea. Suddenly, the sea water rolled and the bottom of the sea tumbled. This caused many people to come out to take a look, but after knowing that the dark tribe wasn't targeting them, they felt relieved and returned to their lairs. The Kunyu clan is very good. I order you to come to the land in 15 hours. Otherwise, you will be beheaded and killed without mercy. At this moment, the leader of the dark tribe, Black Shadow, suddenly shouted at the Sea of Innocence with all the spiritual power of his cultivation. His voice was transmitted into the deep sea, and the Kunyu that were resting in the deep sea hesitated for a moment after hearing Black Shadow's words and came to the land. The Kunyu wanted to hide in the sea, but at this time, they changed into their human forms as soon as they came to the land. There was also a group of Kunyu that, due to their insufficient cultivation, still looked like Kunyu. May I ask who you are? Why are you treating us like this in the territory of the Kunyu clan? At this time, a Kunyu that had already transformed asked Black Shadow standing in the air after receiving the order of the Kunyu clan leader. Of course, there was a slight anger in his tone. Ha! The territory of the Kunyu clan? I didn't want to come, but one of you had a death wish and offended my young master, so you were all implicated by your clansmen. Hearing his question, Black Shadow did not lie and directly told him what he knew. But in an instant, the Kunyu clan leader who was hiding in the sea was completely enraged after hearing Black Shadow's words. Bastard, are you the ones who killed my son? At this time, the Kunyu tribe master was enraged and directly rushed out for his son. He unleashed a powerful attack towards the Black Shadow. Since you don't want to take my advice, don't blame me for it. Seeing the attack and the Kunyu clan leader rushing towards him, Black Shadow, who was originally calm, was completely enraged. He directly took out the precious weapon that Lin Rei had given them and directly slashed the Kunyu clan leader's attack and the Kunyu clan leader's attack back to his original position. Boom! At this time, the Kunyu tribe leader returned to his original position after being attacked by the Black Shadow. The rocks under his feet had been shattered by the Black Shadow's power, and a huge pit had appeared in the ground. Hiss! All the members of the Kunyu clan were stunned by this attack. Chapter 177. An upper great vehicle stage cultivator dares to be so presumptuous in front of me. How dare you call yourself my lord? At this time, the shadow stood in the air and looked at the elder of the insect fish clan who had been blasted to the ground. His eyes were full of disdain. Humph, don't boast shamelessly in front of me. So what if you're in the upper great vehicle stage? Don't think that I can't see that you're also in the upper great vehicle stage. It's not certain who will win. As he spoke, the leader of the Kunyu tribe gathered his strength and charged towards the black figure. This time, the black figure could clearly feel that the person charging towards him was much stronger than before. Hence, he did not underestimate his opponent and took this battle seriously. Well, in that case, I'll let you compete with me. Let's see who will win this time. But this time, you won't be so lucky. This time, it's either you die or I die. After saying that, the shadow took out a 3-foot sword and waved it in the air as if it was alive. Suddenly, bursts of sword chi were emitted from the sword. Sword chi exterminates the heart, exterminates the world. In an instant, He Xiong launched his proudest martial skill. In an instant, the sword chi was released from the sword and rushed towards the elder of the insect fish clan. What? At this time, the elder of the insect fish clan who was rushing towards him felt the power above his head and wanted to escape. However, the sense of crisis was too close for him to avoid. In the end, he could only choose to resist with his body. Bang! After the sword chi collided with the body of the elder of the insect fish clan, it instantly turned into a parabola and flew towards the ground. Kacha! 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 This time, it was not as easy as before. The elder of the insect fish clan who was bombarded to the ground by the sword chi of the black shadow suddenly heard the sound of bones breaking. This sound made the people of the insect fish clan who were next to him feel a chill down their spine. Cold sweat could not stop dripping from their faces to the ground. Puff! The elder of the insect fish clan who got up spat out a mouthful of blood. In an instant, his face turned pale and the aura of his body became extremely weak. How is this possible? We're all upper great vehicle stage cultivators. Why are you so strong? Why did you kill my son? At this time, the elder of the insect fish clan who knew that he was going to die, he knelt on the ground and screamed at the shadow. Why? That's because your son tried to rape my wife and even tried to kill me. It's just that my cultivation is stronger than his, so he died and I'm still alive. Originally, I wanted to play around and exterminate your entire clan. At this moment, Linley, who had been hiding in the dark and watching the battle, walked out and said to the mournful Kunyu patriarch. His tone was cold and murderous. You of the insect fish clan? Please. Of the insect of. It's all my fault. Please don't vent your anger on my clan. I beg you, young master, please don't exterminate my insect fish clan. We have lived here for generations and we have never harmed anyone. Please. Listen to me. I intend to exterminate your insect fish clan. However, I don't see anyone like your son in your clan. There's no one like him who did evil. Therefore, the heavens are virtuous. Saving a life is better than building a 7-storied pagoda. I've decided not to exterminate your insect fish clan. However, I can't do this to you because you have to pay for what your son has done. Hearing Linley's words, the Kuan fish laughed bitterly. It turned around and said to the members of the Kuan fish clan, let's go. From today onwards, I, Mashing of the insect fish clan, will resign from my position as the head of the insect fish clan. From now on, I'm not allowed to go to the territory of the human race. If I violate this rule, I'm sure everyone knows the rules. Yes, head of the insect fish clan. From now on, I will lead the insect fish clan to live in the chimeric deep sea. We will never leave this place, including our descendants. At this time, after hearing the words of the insect fish clan's patriarch, the man named Tien Jin walked out and knelt in front of the insect fish clan. He swore to the heavens. Well, remember what you said. Don't be like me. I will only harm you. After saying that, the insect fish clan's patriarch turned his head and knelt on the ground. He looked at Lin Rei in the sky and said with a smile, "Thank you. Thank you for forgiving my insect fish clan. I will do as you said." After saying that, the man's palm turned into a claw and directly hit the insect fish clan's head. At this moment, no one could react except for Lin Rei. Bang! The man's palm directly penetrated the insect fish clan's head. Blood and brain matter spurted out from the gaps between his fingers. The scene was extremely horrifying. "Ha, you're straightforward." Looking at the dead insect fish clan's patriarch, the resentment in Lin Rei's heart disappeared. He raised his head and said to the crowd, "I'm a man of my word. Since I said I'd let you go, I won't go back on my word. Also, remember your oath to never disturb the humans on this island. If I find out, don't even think about surviving in the entire sea of innocence." After saying that, Lin Rei turned around and left with the members of the dark section. All the insect fish clan members who stayed behind were grateful to Lin Rei and knelt on the ground in the direction where he disappeared. After that, Tian Jin led the insect fish clan away from the mainland and into the depths of the Chimeric Sea. From then on, they were separated from the world. After leaving, Lin Rei brought everyone back to the place where he lived. Looking at the place where he lived for 6 years, to be honest, Lin Rei was very reluctant to part with it. Sigh. If it weren't for your restraints and his family members who were waiting for him on planet Aqua Blue, he might really have lived in this carefree place with his wife and children, slowly growing old until he died. Black Shadow, go and pack up. Tomorrow, we will leave this place and return to the Tianxian continent. After sighing and being silent for a long time, Lin Rei finally recovered from the memories of the past. Then, he said to the black shadow behind him who was on standby, "Yes, I will have them pack up now. This subordinate will take his leave first." Go ahead." Seeing the black shadow leave, Lin Rei sorted out his emotions, pushed open the door, and walked in. He had lived in this house for 5 years, and he had personally built it for Jean Ling. "Ah. Husband, you're back. Is the matter settled?" Jean Ling, who was playing with Jean N inside, heard the sound of the door opening. She turned around and saw that it was her husband. She asked with concern, It's settled. Everything has been settled. But we have to leave this place." At this point, Lin Rei's emotions, which had just been sorted out, became heavy again. Although she had lost her memories all these years, and everyone who was together with her had returned, her memories were also lost. His feelings for Jean Ling were still the same. They were very loving and had not changed. Sigh. "It's okay. Although I really want to live here forever, I know that there must be something you want to do. I love you very much and want you to stay, but I want to see you happy. I don't want to be a burden to you." Hearing his wife's words, Lin Rei felt ashamed. He had never made her feel so wronged. "Don't worry. When we return to my hometown, I will bring you back to see my mother. I believe that she will like you too." After Lin Li promised Jean Ling, he came to her side and hugged her in his arms. "Why don't we return to 5 years ago, on the first day of our wedding? Just nice, let this memory stay in our memories forever." As he spoke, Lin Rei's breath began to become heavy. In the end, the two of them looked at each other with heavy breaths. The love in their eyes was like that of a young couple who had just gotten married. Husband, don't be like this." Is still watching from the side. Wu Wang, who was originally out of control, was forcibly suppressed by Jean Ling. "It's okay. He is here. Anyway, he is our son. What's there to be embarrassed about?" At this time, Lin Rei's desire had reached its limit. He did not care whether Jean N was present or not. As he spoke, his large hands began to grope Jean Ling's body. Don't. If you do this again, I won't let you on the bed in the future." In an instant, after hearing Jean Ling's words, Lin Rei's hands suddenly stopped moving. He was abruptly stopped by Jean Ling's words. Ling, it's fine as long as Jean N is not here. No matter what, Jean N has grown up. As parents, we can't let our child be like this and watch us like this. Hearing his wife's words, Lin Ray smiled. Then, with a wave of his hand, Jean N, who was originally playing, instantly fainted on the ground and lost consciousness. Ah! Husband, you. Seeing this scene, Jean Ling suddenly panicked. She hurriedly wanted to get up to check on her son's condition, but she was stopped by Lin Ray. All right, yes, he's fine. He was just knocked out by my spell. He'll wake up tomorrow, and by then, his body won't feel any discomfort. He'll only feel that he had a good sleep. After saying that, Lin Ray could no longer hold back and directly pushed Jean Ling onto the bed. A fierce battle began just like that. It was not until late at night that the two of them stopped. Husband, we are leaving tomorrow. At this time, Jean Ling, who was sweating but had a rosy complexion, lay on Lin Ray's chest and said to him reluctantly. It's okay. Our life will be better in the future. Moreover, I want you to be with me forever. Just like that, the two of them did not sleep for the whole night. They chatted from late at night until dawn. Both of them put on their clothes. At this time, Lin Ray woke Jean N, who was lying on the other bed. Chapter 178. Let's go. Everything here will only exist in our memories. I met you here, we fell in love here, and we even had our first child here. Everything here will forever appear clearly in our memories and will never be erased. At this moment, Lin Ray and his wife, Jean N, who had made all the preparations, looked at the place where they had lived for a long time. Although they were reluctant to part with it, they still chose to leave. In an instant, Lin Ray's spiritual energy enveloped Jean Ling and Jean N, and they arrived at the edge of the island where Black Shadow came from. Greetings, Sect leader, mistress, and young master. At this moment, Black Shadow and the others had been waiting for a long time. When they saw Lin Ray suddenly appear, they hurried forward and bowed respectfully to Lin Ray and the other two. Lin Li didn't mind. After all, these people were all members of his sect. But Jean Ling was different. She was an adult, after all. When so many people addressed her as madam, she felt a hint of joy in her heart, but she didn't dare to show it on her face. As for Jean N, because of his young age, he only felt a bit of curiosity upon seeing so many people. Get up. Follow the original route you took. I believe you've already cleared all the demonic beasts on your way here. Yes. When we first came here, many of our brothers died. That's why we were able to come here. Upon hearing Lin Ray's words, Black Shadow and the others explained to Lin Ray with sorrowful expressions. Sigh. I understand. Let's go. Get to the Tianxian continent as soon as possible. Once we're done with the rest, I'll take you out of here and head to a more spacious planet. Yes, we pledge our lives to follow Sect leader. With that, Lin Ray and the others set off for the Tianxian continent. They traveled day and night without stopping for even a moment. At the edge of the Tianxian continent's Sea of Innocence. At this moment, at the edge of the Tianxian continent's Sea of Innocence, more than 10,000 people were waiting here. The aura on each of them was enough to dominate an area. Eldest senior sister, what do you think Master will say when he returns and sees our cultivation? At this moment, the 5 people standing at the very edge looked at the Sea of Innocence with smiles on their faces. One of them, a bald man, asked the woman next to him. Master, when the time comes, Master will definitely say that you guys are slacking off while Master isn't around. Look, you guys have the nerve to talk nonsense in front of me with this little bit of cultivation. It seems that if I don't treat you guys harshly in the future, you won't know how to write the name Lin Ray. Ha ha ha. World, you're simply another version of Master. I didn't expect you to understand Master so well. At this moment, when the other four heard the woman's words, smiles blossomed on their faces, and they were filled with admiration for this world. That's not entirely true. Maybe Master will say that. The man next to him rubbed his throat and said to the crowd with a serious expression. Good. You're all worthy of being Lin Rei's disciples. To be able to reach the next stage of Pig Trotter's Rice Mahayana in 6 years, you've all done well. Master is proud of you. Tears welled up in everyone's eyes when he finished speaking, including the person who was pretending to be Master. Cullen, do you think Master will really praise us like you said? And how has Master been these past few years? I heard that he was seriously injured when he disappeared. I wonder if he's recovered now. At this moment, another woman among the 5 said to Ken Luen. Her voice was filled with longing. Sigh. Junior brothers and sisters, our Master is always full of surprises. For example, when he took us in as his disciples. These 5 people were the 5 disciples that Lin Rei had personally taken in. In the past 6 years, they had missed Lin Rei more and more, but they couldn't find him. As a result, they had devoted all their time to cultivation. That was why, in the past 6 years, they had been able to go from being unknown cultivators to being experts who could shake a region. Yes, senior sister is right. You don't know how shameless Master was when he took me in. He was the one who wanted to take me in as soon as he saw me, but in the end, he gave me a lot of benefits. Sigh. Our Master is always like this. He always has a path that ordinary people don't take. Forget it. Let's just wait here peacefully for Master to come back. With that, they sat down cross-legged and cultivated quietly by the sea. On the other side, Bing, who had been waiting, was staring at the sea expectantly. She didn't want to leave for a moment, for fear that she wouldn't see Lin Rei when he came back. Red Lotus, who had always wanted to know whether the Xuanzong Sect Master was Lin Rei, had secretly come here when everyone from the Xuanzong Sect had gone to the Sea of Innocence. She wanted to confirm the knot in her heart that had been gnawing on her mind for the past 6 years. At this time, Red Lotus was very anxious. She was conflicted when she thought that she would know the answer soon. She wanted to know, but she also didn't want to know. I'd like to see if the Xuanzong Sect Master will show up this time. Red Lotus had made up her mind. If the Xuanzong Sect Master didn't show up, she would continue to investigate until she figured it out. Of course, Lin Rei, who was flying on the sea at this time, didn't know that before he returned to the mysterious sky continent, there were already people who were thinking about him. Lin Rei, who had been flying on the sea for more than a month, was now close to the edge. He was very excited. He thought about Bing, Lin Tian, Dong Xiaonan, and his disciples. He thought about how they had changed over the past 6 years. Were they still as naughty and mischievous as before? What's wrong, husband? At this moment, after sensing that Linley's emotions had become agitated, he asked out of curiosity. Oh, it's nothing. I just haven't seen them for many years, so I'm a little nervous. I'm fine. Let's keep going. Hearing his wife's words, Lin Rei hurriedly hid all his thoughts. It wasn't time for him to miss them, because they were still on the Sea of Innocence. Anything could happen. It'll be over soon. In the next few days, whenever Linley had some free time, he would personally go and see his wife train. In addition, Linley was preparing to refine the primo fruit into a pill for Jean Ling to eat. That way, she would be able to raise her cultivation level in a short period of time without affecting her foundation. Finally, on the 6th day, Lin Rei and the others finally saw the edge of the sea. However, there were tens of thousands of people waiting on the shore. It seemed like they had been waiting there for a long time. Oh, I didn't expect that my return would cause such a stir in the entire sect. This is really a big scene. At this time, after seeing the people on the shore, he knew that these people were notified by the Black Shadow. The people who came to greet him were all disciples of the Xuanzong sect. Seeing this scene, Lin Rei's body trembled with excitement and a happy smile appeared on his face. Quick, look, it's the dark group. The dark group is back. At this time, a person on the shore had sharp eyes. Before the crowd saw Lin Rei, the person had already seen the dark group. He then shouted to everyone on the shore. In an instant, the disciples' words ignited the hearts of everyone on the shore. Whether they had seen Lin Rei before or not, whether they were Lin Rei's disciples or Bing, whether they were subordinates or people of other races, they were all excited when they saw the people flying on the sea. Oh! I didn't expect that you would have so many subordinates. It seems that I have underestimated you before. At this time, after seeing the situation on the shore, Jean Ling, who was now beside Lin Rei, said to her husband with a shocked expression. Her eyes were full of admiration. Alas! In fact, when I left, there weren't so many people in the sect. However, in the 6 years of development, I didn't expect them to develop to this extent. At this time, Lin Rei looked at the people on the shore and his heart was filled with emotions. However, he was more gratified. Soon, under everyone's gaze, Lin Rei, his wife and children, and the dark group successfully landed and returned to the Tianxian continent, which they had not seen for a long time. We, the Xuanzong sect disciples, elders, ministers, pay our respects to the sect leader. We hope that the sect leader will live as long as the heavens, and that Funing will be in good health. At the moment Lin Rei landed, tens of thousands of people directly knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Lin Rei. The scene was amazing. Ha ha ha. Good, 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 all of you, get up. You have worked hard for so many years. When we return to the sect, I will reward you according to your merits. All of your hard work will be recorded in the life department of the sect. Looking at such people, Lin Rei was very happy. However, at this time, he felt a strange atmosphere. Ah! Master, you are finally back. Do you know how much little you misses you? Where have you been all these years? Do you know? After knowing that you were missing, we almost went crazy looking for you, but we couldn't find you. Boo-hoo. Just as Lin Rei was about to go and catch the person hiding in the dark, Lin Wanyu, Lin Rei's first disciple, threw herself on Lin Rei and cried. Then, all the disciples came to Lin Rei. However, they were not as exaggerated as Lin Wanyu, but tears flowed from their eyes uncontrollably. Ha ha ha, good. You really didn't let me down. You are all my good disciples. I didn't think of you all these years, but because of various reasons, I couldn't come back to see you. When we return to the sect, I will come back with you one by one. However, now, we should welcome the friend hiding in the dark. I don't know. Should I invite you out, or should you come out yourself? Chapter 179. At this moment, after hearing Linley's words, everyone's eyes began to scan the surroundings. They wanted to find the so-called person that their sect leader had mentioned before. What? Master, is there anyone here? Everyone instinctively released their divine senses to explore the surroundings, but in the end, they all ended up empty-handed. They even suspected that the sect master was deliberately mystifying things. Ha! It seems that I really have to personally invite you out. After a long time, that person still did not appear. At this moment, Lin Rei sneered and disappeared on the spot. When he reappeared, he was already in the forest 1,000 meters away. Holding the martial emperor god's spear in his hand, he looked at an ancient tree with a murderous gaze and said coldly, "Come out." I don't want to say it again. I believe you know my strength. Not to mention you, even your companions who were several times stronger than you were killed by me. Do you think you'll come out if I have to do it? Huh, long time no see. At this moment, Red Lotus knew that she could no longer hide it. She walked out with a helpless look on her face and spoke to Linley with a hint of helplessness in her voice. Heh, I knew it was you. To be able to remain undetected in front of so many Mahayana realm cultivators, there are only you and Zhao Pan and his companions on the Tianxian continent. Both of them are dead, so you're the only one left. At this moment, when Red Lotus heard Lin Rei mention the name of his companions, she looked at him with a puzzled expression. She wanted to ask him, but she did not know how to ask. Speak, what are you doing here? It seems that there are no other feelings between us apart from enmity. Looking at the silent Red Lotus, Lin Rei did not soften his heart. His tone was still cold and his face was filled with murderous intent. Ha! You ask me why? Isn't it all because of your sect? Just 6 years ago, you and I suddenly sent out more than 1,000 cultivators above the form synthesis realm, which completely destroyed the Red Lotus Empire's plan to unify the continent. I thought it was nothing, but you sent out people one after another. In the end, the entire Tianxian continent was under your control. Do you think I could sit still? At this moment, when Red Lotus said this, there was a trace of displeasure on her face and her tone was filled with hidden bitterness. I didn't want this to happen either. But anyway, why are you here? I don't believe that you're just here for fun. Humph, fine. I was just curious. I even suspected that the Xuanzong sect and those cultivators who appeared on the Tianxian continent were your disciples. Later, I heard them say that their sect master might appear here, so I came. The result was beyond my expectations. I didn't expect you to be the sect master of the Xuanzong sect, the leader of those experts. At this moment, Red Lotus said this in a shocked tone. The expression on her face was even more shocked. Her eyes were wide open, and the disbelief and worry in her eyes made Lin Rei want to laugh. Ha! Since that's the case, now that you know, it's time for you to leave. I've just returned and have to go back to the sect to prepare. Goodbye. Lin Rei didn't say much to Red Lotus because there was no need to. Since he didn't remember her and had acted so decisively before, Lin Rei decided that there was no need to continue the conversation. Oh, by the way, you should go back and prepare for the next 2 days. After that, go to the Royal Pill City in the west and find a Nine Heavens trading company. They'll inform me when the time comes and I'll take you away from this planet. Once you're in the space tunnel, you can go wherever you want. What happens after that is out of my control. After saying this, Lin Rei didn't stay for a moment longer. He instantly teleported and disappeared on the spot. When he reappeared, he was back on Jean Ling's body. Red Lotus, who was in the forest, was very unhappy when she saw that Lin Rei didn't want to say a word. However, when she thought that her strength was not enough in front of him, she suppressed her displeasure and flew back to her empire. This time, she was going to the empire according to Lin Rei's instructions. When Red Lotus flew out, everyone's divine sense knew that there was someone watching them in the dark. They were shocked for a moment. At this moment, among the 10,000 people present, no one dared to look down on their sect master anymore. Well, let's go. When we get back, I'll discuss something good with you. After returning, Lin Rei said this to Bing and the other senior members. Then, he took Bing, Jean Ling, Dong Xiaonan, and his 5 disciples and quickly headed south using the teleportation technique. However, Lin Rei didn't have a good time along the way. This was because when Lin Rei went to talk to Red Lotus, Jean Ling found out that Bing Jingran was also her husband's woman. For a moment, the smile on her face disappeared. Along the way, Lin Rei was very careful with Bing and Jean Ling. He didn't dare to make them unhappy at all. Husband, don't you have anything to say to me? Finally, Jean Ling, who had been walking for a few days, asked her husband at noon. Jean Ling, I'm sorry. It's not that I didn't want to tell you before. You know that my memory was sealed and I didn't know anything at all. Later, I recovered my memory, so I didn't dare to tell you. I was afraid that you would ignore me if I told you. At this time, Lin Li could only use the tricks of the 21st century to persuade Jean Ling. Indeed, when Jean Ling heard Lin Li's words, her heart instantly softened. She looked at him with a distressed expression and said, "You've been hurt so badly. Husband, it's my fault. Don't be like this. I won't ask again." At this time, everyone who was wrapped in Lin Rei's spiritual power looked envious after hearing Jin Ling's words. Well, I knew it. Ling is the best to me. Don't worry. I will treat you well in the future. I won't let you get hurt in the future. Well, I understand. Husband, young master. Just like that, the crowd, who had thought that a bloody battle was about to break out, was pacified by Linley with just a few words. For more than 10 days, Jin Ling and Bing Jinran became very good sisters. This made Lin Rei a little puzzled. They didn't even let Lin Rei hear their whispers. At the same time, during these 10 days, Lin Rei finally returned to his residence, Jiutian Xuanzong Sect. Phew, I'm finally back. I'm finally back. My sect, my home. At this time, Lin Rei was very emotional. When he left a few years ago, it was a different scene. This time, when he came back, it was indeed better than before. This made Lin Rei feel very gratified. Well, you guys hurry up and rest. You can stay in my room. Bing will take you there in a while. As for the others, follow me to the meeting hall. I have something important to tell you. At this time, after returning to the sect, Lin Rei sighed and said to Jin Ling. After that, he led the higher-ups to the meeting hall, which they hadn't seen for a long time. Okay, you guys don't have to guess. This time, I was plotted against by an expert at the peak of the Earth Immortal Realm. As a result, my memory and cultivation were sealed, so I couldn't contact the sect. The seal was broken not long ago. Lin Rei knew what everyone wanted to ask, so he directly said the doubts in their hearts. Well, this matter is still a small matter. Next, I'll leave it to you. After hearing Lin Rei's words, everyone's face showed a determined look. They looked at Lin Rei, who was sitting on the throne of the sect master. Everyone present knelt on the ground and said to Lin Rei, "We are willing to share any burden for the sect master. Please give us your orders. We will definitely do it." Oh. Well, get up. Why are you so serious? After hearing Lin Rei's order, everyone present stood up and stared at Lin Rei. They were all waiting for the task. Alright, let's cut to the chase. This time, I'm going to bring all of you out of this sealed planet. But before that, Brother Nan, you have to collect all the treasures of the trading company as soon as possible and prepare to go to another world for the use of the sect. When we reach the real cultivation world, I'll help you build a real Nine Heavens trading company. At that time, I'll let your trading company spread throughout the entire cultivation world and the immortal world. After hearing Lin Rei's words, Dong Xiaonan naturally agreed. Even if there were no other conditions, he would still agree. After all, Nine Heavens Trading Company was the financial lifeline of the Nine Heavens Xuanzong sect. Yes, I will go and inform all the branches on the continent and let them transport everything here. After saying that, Dong Xiaonan walked out. Everyone's face showed an excited smile. Okay, you have tasks. Alright, all of you have your tasks as well. Gather all the disciples during this period of time. I want to know the names of the special members, and I will also change your current positions. Now that the sect is growing stronger, some other things need to be built. After this, we should only do it when we reach the real cultivation world. Therefore, during this period of time, all of you must take away everything that the sect can. Don't leave a single thing here. Once everything is over, we will set off for the world that I have obtained. At this time, Lin Rei's eyes were filled with yearning and excitement. He couldn't wait to go home. Yes, we will go and prepare now. We will take our leave first. Okay, you all go. Wan Yu, Estranged, Xianyuan, Yuro, Ka Luan, and Lin Tian, stay behind. The others can leave. After hearing Lin Rei's words, everyone except for the names that Lin Rei had mentioned left. At this time, only Lin Rei and the 6 people who stayed behind were left in the meeting hall. At this time, they were very nervous. They were wondering why their master, young master, had left them here. Chapter 180. Alright, stop guessing. I know you guys are here for a simple purpose. I haven't seen you for so many years, so I want to talk to you guys. Of course, I also want to see how you guys have been doing in the past few years. I can't just see that you guys are in the Mahayana realm. Although I'm only in the middle stage of the crossing calamity stage, I'm still more than enough to deal with you guys. After saying that, Lin Rei stood up from his seat with a hint of ridicule. In an instant, he came to the side of the 6 people, and a martial emperor divine spear appeared in front of them. Master, don't, cut the crap. Come on. Let Master see how my good disciples and little Tian have grown over the past few years. Hearing their evasive words, Lin Rei interrupted them directly. The martial emperor divine spear in his hand turned into a long dragon and came in front of them in an instant. Clang! Just as the 6 of them saw that the danger was right in front of them, they did not hesitate and immediately took out their magic treasures, directly blocking Lin Li's attack. Master, we were wrong. Don't be like this. We're not your match. Right now, the youngest, Cullen, had a pained look on his face as he spoke to Lin Li. His hands were trembling, but his eyes were filled with shock. Good. Since you're able to withstand this move of mine, there's no need for me to hold back anymore. Ha! With a loud shout, Lin Rei released all his cultivation. A pressure that didn't belong to the middle stage of the crossing calamity stage swept out with Lin Rei as the center. Huff, 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 suddenly, the sound of wind blowing could be heard in the closed meeting hall. The wind was so fierce that it frightened the 6 people. At the same time, they were full of admiration. Silent thunder, stab. In an instant, Lin Rei's first martial skill, Silent Thunder, was launched in front of the 6 people. What? Master, you're serious. Seeing their master, young master, use a martial skill, the 6 people came back to their senses in an instant. Their faces were serious, and they were no longer as playful as before. Grade 3 Incinerating Wind Extreme. In an instant, the 6 of them used the top martial skills that Lin Rei had given them. A huge force rushed towards Lin Rei. The force was mighty and ferocious. Hee, you want to fight me in one move? If that's the case, then come at me. Level 3 Incinerating Wind, Meteorite. It was the same move as the 6 of them, but it was much more powerful than theirs. It directly rushed towards the 6 of them. Rumble, rumble, when the 2 waves of attacks collided, the resulting shockwave directly collapsed the meeting hall. The 6 people were also blown away by the shockwave. As for Lin Rei, he was still standing in the same place, smiling as he looked at the 6 people who were blown away. Of course, this anomaly also attracted the attention of everyone in the valley, including Jin Ling and Bing, who had returned to their rooms. They rushed to the scene as soon as the anomaly appeared. It seems that my movements are a bit too big. Seeing so many people gathered, Lin Li's face revealed a hint of embarrassment. When he once again saw the 6 people in the distance, they had stopped their bodies from being blown away by the wind. Their faces were filled with shock as they stared at Lin Li, who was still standing there. Okay, go back. I'm just accompanying my disciple and brother to learn from each other. If there's nothing else, go back. In an instant, Lin Rei came to Lin Tian's side and said to the people who were watching this place with a smile on his face. Yes, we will follow the sect master's order. After hearing Lin Rei's order, everyone returned to their positions. Of course, except for Jin Ling and Bing, who ran over and did not return. Master, look, such a good meeting hall was destroyed by your martial technique just like that. Sigh. What a pity. Just as the crowd dispersed, Wan Yu walked forward and looked at the destroyed palace in front of her with a look of regret. Pung! A chestnut was hit directly on Wan Yu's head. The sound was incomparably clear and it must have been very painful. Only you know. You're the only one who can make fun of me. I'm your master after all. Can't you respect me? At this time, Wan Yu's eyes revealed a look of grievance as she looked at Lin Rei who hit her. At this time, it could be said that she was angry but did not dare to say anything. Okay, this competition is over. If you don't want to go to Lin Tian, then come to Master. Master will let you have a taste of your master's wife's cooking. After saying that, Lin Rei came to Jin Ling's side and hugged Jin Ling's waist as he spoke to Lin Tian and the others. Ah. Okay. We originally had such a plan. At the same time, we also want to know what a master without cultivation and memory is like here. Hearing Lin Rei's words, Lin Tian and the others all agreed. At this time, Wan Yu, who was hit by Lin Rei, walked forward and directly held Jin Ling's arm. Then, she secretly gave Jin Ling a look. Now that the sparring had come to an end, everyone gathered in Linley's courtyard. Only, the difference was that Jin Ling, who was supposed to be cooking, couldn't help but walk into the kitchen and begin to cook. Jin Ling wanted to help, but was chased out by Linley. Jin Ling knew that as long as Lin Rei did not want to, no one could stop him. Therefore, she could only obediently walk out and then go to Wan Yu's side to chat. After many times of coaxing and pestering by Wan Yu, she finally got out of Jin Ling's mouth about Lin Rei's life on Wuang Island in the past few years, including how Lin Rei recovered his memory. Hearing this, it made Bing, who was next to her, feel a little sad. At this moment, she wished that she was the one who lived with Lin Rei on the island. Unfortunately, there were not so many ifs in the world. Okay, don't talk, come in and eat. Today, I will let you have a taste of my cooking. However, your master's wife has eaten it for 5 or 6 years. After the meal, everyone present was full of praise. Of course, some talked about their life on the island in the past few years. Speaking of this, Lin Rei's face always showed a happy smile. Time passed slowly, and a month passed. On the 15th day after returning, Red Lotus arrived at the Xuanzong Sect's residence through the transmission formation of the Jiutian Trading Company. When she arrived at the residence, her face was full of shock. Of course, Bai Qi and Dian Wei also saw Red Lotus, but because of Lin Rei's warning, they did not go to greet her. As for the Nine Heavens Trading Company, due to the fact that they had already expanded quite a bit into the profound sky continent, it would take some time for them to collect everything. But fortunately, they were able to gather everything within a month. This made Linley feel very gratified. When he saw all the items of the trading company, his face revealed a look of shock. He did not expect that in just a few years, his young man could develop the trading company to such a level. The people who were ordered by Lin Rei to organize the list of all the disciples were soon finished. There were a total of 36,000 disciples in the sect, but half of them were above the combination realm. Of course, there were not many in the foundation establishment realm. Most of them were above the foundation establishment realm. This made Lin Rei even more happy. Sometimes, there were less than 10,000 people. He did not expect that in such a short time, the sect would develop to such a level. How could Lin Rei not feel proud? A month passed. Basically, every day, Linley would sit in his courtyard and drink wine, tease his wife, and spend some time with his disciple. As for Jin, he would only let her go once. Because of that incident, Linley had made up his mind to have Jin undergo strict training. After returning, Linley had thrown her into the shadow department and ordered her to follow their training regimen. She was not to be soft-hearted just because Jin was Linley's child. As for Hei Long, Lin Rei went to see her after returning and told her what to do next. Hei Long was very willing to leave with Lin Rei, which Lin Rei had already expected. Things were solved one by one. Finally, on this day, everything was solved. Lin Rei's mood to go home was completely stimulated. In the past, he would look up at the bright moon and miss his hometown. Now, he had completely fulfilled his wish. On this day, in the Xuanzong Sect's encampment, this place was no longer the encampment. This was because everything here had been collected by Lin Ray, including all the palaces, the 2 defensive formations, and nearly 40,000 disciples. All of them were collected by Lin Ray in the Cloud Pagoda. Of course, this excluded Red Lotus, who was sent away in the tunnel. Alright, when we get to the tunnel, I'll make a separate tunnel for you. At that time, we'll go our separate ways. You have your way, and I'll cross my single-plank bridge. From then on, we don't owe each other anything, and we'll never see each other again. Seeing that everything had been prepared, Linley told Red Lotus his thoughts, then took out the Realmbreaker teleportation tunnel. He didn't give Red Lotus another chance. Do you think I want to have anything to do with you? Seeing Lin Ray's attitude, Red Lotus threw a lazy look at Lin Ray and let him figure it out himself. Reincarnation transfer, break realm transmission, open. After uttering an incantation, he tossed the Realmbreaker teleportation tunnel to the ground. Instantly, a vortex appeared. Seeing the vortex appear, Linley truly felt a sense of nostalgia, and he couldn't wait any longer. System, when we arrive at the teleportation portal, send Red Lotus away. As for how many things I need, I will owe you first. I will slowly pay you back in the future. You have to ensure her safety in the tunnel. Just as they were about to leave, Linley said to Xiaolong. From his tone, it was clear that he was still afraid that something would happen to Red Lotus in the tunnel. Okay, remember what you said. When the time comes, I will double what you owe me. Hearing the system's words, Linley rolled his eyes. Without saying anything, he pulled Red Lotus by the hand and walked towards the road that led to his home. In an instant, when Lin Ray stepped into the portal, the Break Realm transmission formation disappeared without a trace. It was as if it had never appeared. From then on, the Tianxian continent became a beautiful memory in the hearts of Lin Ray and the others. Chapter 181. At 5:24 in 2013, on a bustling and noisy street in J City, Wuxia, a handsome man with snow-white hair, wearing an ancient costume, and a pair of sharp eyebrows and starry eyes suddenly appeared. No one knew how he appeared, but he suddenly appeared in the middle of the crowd. Phew, at this time, the man stood on the bustling street, looking at the people coming and going in a daze. His heart was incomparably excited. Ha ha ha. I'm finally back, I'm finally back. Suddenly, the man looked up to the sky and roared, saying the words, I'm back. His voice was so loud that the passers-by all stopped in their tracks. Their eyes stared at the man who was laughing loudly, and their faces revealed a sick expression. F***CK, brother, are you okay? It's such a hot day, and you're wearing ancient clothes. You're not role-playing, are you? Yeah, brother, look at this hot day. Even if you want to be a star, you don't have to work so hard. Even if you're like this, the talent scouts might not necessarily choose you. At this time, a group of people surrounded the white-haired man and said to him in a persuasive tone. That, I know. When the man came back to his senses and saw a group of people surrounding him and saying such words, he subconsciously lowered his head and looked at his clothes. At this time, the man hurriedly thanked the onlookers, then pushed the crowd away and left the bustling city as fast as he could. Sigh, young people nowadays are always thinking of impossible things. I wonder if his parents know about it. Just after the man left, a white-haired old man with a kind face looked at the man's back and sighed. At this time, the man who had left the crowd had already come to a quiet corner. In this place, no one walked around, and no one would come here for no reason. Finally, the excited expression on the man's face faded, and he calmed down in the blink of an eye. Hee, I didn't expect that I, Lin Ray, would be taught a lesson by an ignorant ant. If this were to be seen by the people of the Tianxian continent, what would their expressions be like? This white-haired, ancient-robed man was Linley, who had just returned from the Realmbreaker teleportation tunnel. He had thought that he would be teleported to a place with no one around, but unexpectedly, the Realmbreaker teleportation tunnel had brought him to a bustling city. I wonder how Red Lotus is doing. Did she reach the planet she wanted to go to? At this time, Lin Ray, who had calmed down, thought of the process of the teleportation tunnel. Lin Ray made the system pay a heavy price to open a tunnel to another cultivation world for Red Lotus and let her go in. F***CK, host, what else do you want her to do? I think you should just forget about it. With her current achievements, if it weren't for you, she would probably still be dead. Just as Lin Ray was thinking about Red Lotus, the system spirit, the little dragon, walked out and said to Lin Ray with eyes full of disdain. You still have the nerve to say that. Didn't you say that after she woke up, she would only regain her memories and nothing would happen to her? Now you still have the nerve to talk about it after the fact. If you were a physical body, I would have caught you a long time ago and smashed your ass open. At this time, when he heard the little dragon's words, the anger in Lin Ray's heart suddenly vented. It would have been better if Red Lotus had not been mentioned, but what the little dragon, the main culprit, said had completely ignited Lin Ray. Didn't I explain this to you before? At that time, I was unconscious and the system malfunctioned, so it became like this. But don't worry, it won't happen again. After speaking, the little dragon hurriedly went into the system and did not make a sound, nor did it discuss Red Lotus with Lin Ray. F***CK, you're hiding. Seeing that there was no reply, Lin Ray gave up on bombarding the little dragon with words. After all, they still had a long time to be together in the future. After quarreling with the little dragon, he came back to his senses and looked down at his clothes and hair. A smile appeared on his face. Since I'm back, I'll completely return to my original life. Otherwise, if I go back like this, who knows what will happen? Illusory, four-sided construction. Suddenly, the celestial artifact on Lin Ray's body began to change. Finally, the appearance of the ancient clothes was gone. At this time, Lin Ray was wearing the clothes of this planet, which were half sleeves, long pants, and sports shoes. It was as if he had become a different person. In the past, Lin Ray was like a steady, calm, and charming person. At this time, the transformation of the celestial artifact made Lin Ray more lively and cheerful, of course, except for his white hair that did not change. Sigh. Since I've changed, let's change more thoroughly. Touching the hair on his head, Lin Ray's face showed a trace of reluctance. After all, he liked how he looked when he was in the Tianxian continent. In an instant, the Mu 10,000 Laws sword appeared in his hand and directly chopped at the hair on his head. Now, Lin Ray's hair was no longer something that people in the barbershop could touch. At this time, his hair could not be compared to a precious artifact, but it was close to one. Bang! A hair fell from Lin Ray's hand and instantly fell to the ground. However, at this time, Lin Ray's hair was not lying on the ground but was inserted into the ground. If an outsider saw this, they would be scared silly. Soon, after a few minutes, the Mu 10,000 Laws sword in Lin Ray's hand naturally stopped and was put back into the storage ring. The hair that was cut by Lin Ray was also put away. At this time, Lin Ray had changed his appearance. His whole body was dragged out of the Tianxian continent and completely returned to his hometown, Wuxia. Sigh, I can't do anything now. My ID card is long gone and I don't know how many years have passed. Although the little dragon said that he returned to the day he left, but why do I feel that his words sound so unreliable? Everything was ready. Thinking that he didn't even have an identity now, for a moment, his whole person felt as if he had no sense of belonging. One must know that a person's ID card represented their existence. Collecting all his thoughts, Lin Ray walked out of the corner and returned to the bustling downtown. However, at this time, Lin Ray was in the crowd and did not look at him strangely like before. It seems that the etiquette of a different era is really a fatal thing. Just a change of clothes and a haircut, and so many changes have happened. At this time, Lin Ray's heart was very emotional. However, no matter how emotional he was, it was not as emotional as the thought of going home to see his parents. Seeing a jewelry store, Lin Rei stepped in. The moment he entered the store, a salesperson greeted him with a smile and asked Lin Rei who walked in. "I don't know, sir, are you here to buy jewelry or sell jewelry or to..." Looking at the salesperson's good attitude, Lin Rei did not say much. One hand reached into his pocket, but his consciousness had already entered the storage ring. He chose a piece of jewelry that could be sold. Looking left and right, Lin Rei finally set his eyes on a 3,000-year-old ruby. With a thought, it appeared in his hand in his pocket. "Hee, don't bother. I'm here to sell jewelry. I just don't know who is in charge here." When the salesperson heard Lin Rei's words, his eyes lit up in an instant. "Sir, please wait here for a while. I'll go and find our manager for you." After speaking, the salesperson turned and walked into the depths of the store. After a while, the shop assistant brought a middle-aged man over with an anxious look on his face. I'm sorry for the neglect. Brother, please don't take offense." The man who came in quickly bowed to Lin Rei with a 90-degree etiquette, and said to Lin Rei with an apologetic face, "Oh, it's okay. Since you are the manager, I think you can make the decision. Then take a look first. How much is my gem worth?" With that, Lin Rei took out his hand from his pocket and handed it directly to the manager. As soon as his hand opened, the 3,000-year-old ruby appeared in the eyes of the manager. How is this possible?" When the manager saw the ruby, his eyes became dull, but the excited expression on his face could be seen by anyone. "Oh, how is it? How much can my ruby be sold for? I still have things to do." Seeing the manager's expression, Lin Li smiled and urged the manager, who was still in a daze. Manager, this mister is talking to you." The salesperson who followed next to the middle-aged manager saw that the manager did not answer after hearing Lin Rei's words, so he came forward and shouted to the middle-aged manager. Oh. I'm sorry, I was rude just now, but I want to persuade you, sir. This gem of yours, our shop can't buy it. Not to mention our shop, even in J City, it is the same. Your gem is so rare that it has exceeded the price range of money." The middle-aged manager's words directly gathered all the people present. They all wanted to see the gem in the middle-aged manager's mouth, but Lin Rei's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. After hearing the manager's words, he quickly put it away, so that the people who came over did not see it. "Oh. That's a pity, but since this matter can't be done, then I want to ask, what year is this year? And where is this place?" This sentence completely confused everyone present. Everyone looked at Lin Rei with a puzzled expression, but the manager was not confused and quickly answered Lin Rei's question. Replying to this, "Mister, this year is already 2013, and this is J City. I don't know what other problems Mister has, but if you don't say it, I will help you." "What, 2013? Doesn't that mean that more than 2 years have passed since I left?" A scream directly scared the people present, and Lin Rei walked out of the jewelry store with a heavy expression. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.